what was it? The Hell's Angels gang rolls by. So we'll see. All right, hang
They
with
just
the
find me again.
what's that?
I said they just find me again, start ripping and roaring through here.
It's that guy doing the show. Fuck him. Just doing circles around your van. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our UFC 200 pre-fight show. My name is Eddie Loth. We have a whole gang of people today. Start off with Nick Pilecki. You guys know him, obviously. Been on the shows forever. Mr. Ruvalcaba. Shout out to him out of California. Dave from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was just telling us about all the craziness that goes down. People thinking Walter White is real and not speaking English at the same time. You need to fucking do like a podcast that's like different, like just not MMA related. Just to tell all the stories of all the shit you've seen just because of that series. It's insane. All right. And then the new guy, our boy, Brandon. Brandon, let the people know where you're from.
Los Angeles, California, representing.
All right, there we go. So we got two Cali boys. We got New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas. So we got the whole side of the country kind of basically covered. We're going to work on our East Coast boys later, but those guys don't like to stay up late. So it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, breaking down UFC 200, of course. It's a stacked card. From the Fight Pass prelims all the way through the main card, names everywhere, bets everywhere. Like I think the guys with least experience are Sage Northcutt and the guy he's fighting, Marine or something like that. So it's a stacked card, plenty to talk about. Kicking it off right here on the UFC Fight Pass prelims. Start off at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time on Fight Pass. We got Jim Miller against Takanori Gomi. Miller, of course, a vet. We all know. 25-8-0, 1-no contest, 32 years old, out of Sparta, New Jersey. Actually trains at his own gym called Miller Brothers MMA. He's 15-7 in the UFC. Last fight was in December when he lost to Diego Sanchez by decision at 196, I think it was, the McGregor-Diaz card. Anyway, Miller's riding a two-fight losing streak. Losses to Sanchez, of course, Michael Chiesa. His last win was against last call, Danny Castillo. And that was actually in like 2015, like July last year. So, but before that, two straight losses to Benil Dariush and Cowboy Cerrone. Meanwhile, actually, no, a little bit of history on Miller before I go on. Miller began martial arts in Taekwondo as 8 years old. Earned his black belt at 10 years old, which tells you about Taekwondo. Don't take that much to get your black belt, apparently. But in Jiu-Jitsu, it takes like 10 years from a legit master. So I'm on like year one barely. It's gonna be a fucking while before I have my black belt, but that's Jiu-Jitsu though, so it's all good. Anyway, he holds a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu under Jamie Cruz. He began training MMA in 2005 at Planet Jiu-Jitsu in Sparta, New Jersey, before he opened up his own gym. Takanori Gomi, meanwhile, if you know MMA, you know Takanori Gomi, especially the hardcores. We all know about the Fireball Kid. 35-11-0, 1-no contest. He's 37 years old. He looks young as hell for 37 years old, I'll tell you that much. Out of Tokyo, Japan, the Kugayama Rascal MMA, which is an awesome name. Rascal as an MMA name or MMA gym name is pretty legit for me. Anyway, 4-6 in the UFC. Last fight was a TKO loss to Joe Lozon at UFC on Fox 16, so it was at least a year or two ago. Anyway, so Gomi's, again, riding a two-fight losing streak, lost to Lozon and he's a guy who's willing to throw hands, right? He's always willing to throw hands. He's not afraid of standing in front of you and getting, taking one to land one. And he's likely in the final stretch of his career. 37 years old, quite a few losses on his record, especially these two-fight losing streak. And if he loses again on Saturday, it's kind of it for him. Like Miller, he badly needs to win. The funny thing about him, he's originally a boxer, started training in 1994. He played baseball in high school before he had to drop out because he was too stupid to fucking graduate to the next grade, legit. Like, he wasn't smart. He couldn't pass the test to move up to the next grade. And so his father disowned him, so he dropped out of high school and began freestyle and catch wrestling and began training at a Shudo gym in 1997 doing Shudo events. So long pride career, faced guys like Nick Diaz, Dwayne Ludwig, Tatsuya Kawajiri, among others. And he debuted in UFC in 2010. And a nice debut, too, where he got submitted by Kenflo. So, not the easiest road for Takanori Gomi, but definitely a fight to watch here between Miller and Gomi, two vets. Kick it off here with Jesse, man. So we got two guys very experienced on their own. Gomi more so than Miller, and both guys have legit ground game. Who are you picking on this one?
Honestly, to me it comes down to, kind of like where your level of competition has come from and like how you've done against that. And honestly, Takanori Gomi is the guy that's actually done better against the higher level competition. Jim Miller, he's been in there with some great guys. He just can't beat those top level guys. I mean, like you mentioned before, Diego Sanchez beat him, and Michael Chiesa. A couple guys that, are just seasoned, gritty, and they just know how to win, basically. You know, Beneil Dariush, all those guys. I mean, he beats Jim Miller beats people like Danny Castillo. And then before that, he had another win against somebody that's not a high-level fighter, you know, a high-ranking fighter. So to me, it's going to come down to it's going to be an exciting fight, but I think Takanori Gomi is the guy that's going to be able to, you know, weather the early storm of Jim Miller, where he comes in, you know, guns a-blazing, trying to, you know, finish the fight real quickly. And I think Takanori Gomi, he can avoid the takedowns, or he can just go to the ground and, you know, wrestle with you down there and, you know, use his jiu-jitsu skills. So I think Gomi has more ways to win. And at 37, I think this is going to be some of his finest performances that he's going to put together. I think it's time for him to kind of just, you know, show what he's got and, you know, pretty much impress us on the way out. So I think, again, man, all these fights are just banger of fights. I think the only fight that really doesn't deserve to be on here is like 3 fights from what we're talking about now with a certain very peppy young kid. But I think all these fights are going to be banger of fights. They're going to be exciting. They're very well matched together, and I think we're in for an exciting fight. So Takanori Gomi, I think it's probably going to be a KO or TKO, probably the 2nd or 3rd round.
Yeah, I mean, these kind of fights, especially with Gomi and Miller, I mean, someone's going to get finished more than likely. Shout out to Andrew Reed. I did make that little you know, jab at Taekwondo. He does hold a black belt in Taekwondo, so he's a little butthurt.
So he paid his dues every month, huh?
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit.
Andy, it's at SPW18, 1983 on Twitter. Get him. All right. Anyway, moving on here, Nick. What do you think about this fight, man? Getting 2 bets. Jim Miller's a guy a lot of people cheer for. Takanori Gomi, weirdly enough, to the casuals, everyone thinks he's new, right? All the casuals think he's new. All the hardcores know him. Who you picking?
I gotta go with Jesse, man. It's going to be a very entertaining fight. Starting off UFC 200 with a bang, with a hell of a fight with Jim Miller and Gomi, but with Miller, I can see him slowly working his way out the door. He hasn't looked good that recent. Neither has Gomi, but I think Gomi has the more experience and the better athleticism to beat him. So I'm gonna have to agree with Jesse. Go either 1st or 2nd round TKO. Like we've been saying, it's going to be a very entertaining fight. But I'm ready for this fight, especially this fight to kick off the whole list of fights that we're about to go over.
Definitely. All right, Dave, man, who you picking in this one?
Yeah, I'll start out with some numbers. You think they have Jim Miller favored 84%, 16. Gomi ranked number 42 in the world. Jim Miller number 26. Like you said, Gomi 37 years old, the older opponent. Does he have a couple fireballs left to throw? I think he does. I think the fight gets real interesting right away. Jim Miller, I think he's got more of a way to win via submission. Maybe if it goes to the ground, he's able to hurt Gomi earlier in the bout. But both coming off 2 losses. Last time Gomi won a bout was against Isaac Valley Flag, a good friend of mine years ago. So it seems like forever. But then again, both guys need a win. They've been around. They were both. Jim Miller is a guy that was on UFC 100 as well. He's one of the 3 guys that are on this card that was on UFC 100. So interesting bout to kick it off. I think Gomi gets it done. I think it's going to be a bit of a shootout to start. Gomi gets the job done, though.
Definitely. All right, Brandon, man. So, again, I think most guys are picking Gomi, right? Or, Jesse, who'd you pick?
Yeah, I picked Gomi.
So everyone picked Gomi so far. Who you picking, man?
I'm going with Miller, man. I don't know. I can't even remember the last time Miller was finished. I mean, Gomi definitely has better striking pedigree, but like you know, like David said, the last time he won was against Isaac Valley Flag. I just don't see it happening. I mean, Miller looked like shit against Diego, but Diego kind of has that stifling style with his takedowns, and he has a good top game. I just don't know. I think Miller submits him. Kind of like, I think it'll go down like his fight with Gillard, you know? That's just my opinion.
All right, and I'm actually picking Gomi as well. I like Takanori Gomi to get a TKO win. Look, I like Jim Miller, big fan of the guy, but he takes risks, and look, the risk that I've seen him take, it's just like he's risking it just to risk it. He never has like a plan like, all right, I'm gonna risk it here and then get this takedown or whatever. And Takanori Gomi is the guy that throws all fucks out the windows. Honestly, I think this fight is just one of those fights where they're just like, look, we're the first fight of the night. Let's show them that we shouldn't have been the very first fight on Fight Pass, and let's see if we can get a bonus. I think they're just going to go in there and just throw hands as hard as they can and be like, look, if one of us goes to sleep, fine. As long as we both get paid. I don't give a shit. So, I mean, I'm hoping that's kind of the fight. And honestly, we always talk about how fights are set up, and you set up a fight like this with Takanori Gomi in there, you're hoping for a brawl. So the UFC definitely set this up in that manner to try and get the card started off on the right foot. All right, moving on to the next fight, which honestly it weirded a lot of people out that this fight's on the prelims, on the Fight Pass prelims out of the entire part of the card. But Gegard Mousasi versus Thiago Santos, number 8 Gegard, number 15 Santos. Gegard's 30 years old, 38, 6-0, out of the Netherlands actually, Red Devil International MMA. 5-3 in the UFC. Last fight, the decision win over Talos Leites, where after the fight he started telling people to fuck off basically. And basically just, I mean, he might as well just throw middle fingers to the freaking crowd if he didn't do it. I don't know if he did or not, but anyway, Mousasi he's been talked about worthy for a title shot for actually more recently than before. But he lost to Uriah Hall with that TKO short notice fight. I believe it was a short notice fight for Hall. He's lost to Jacare, Lyoto Machida, basically the higher ups at 185. And he's a former Dream light heavyweight champ, former middleweight champion in Dream as well, former light heavyweight champion in Strikeforce. Let's see, a couple of interesting facts that I learned today about him. He was actually born in Tehran, Iran, during the Iran-Iraq War. 4 years old, he moved to the Netherlands, and that's where it took off. Began training judo at 8 years old, and then boxing at 15. He was actually amateur boxing champ at 16 years old, so he picked up pretty quick. Thiago Santos is out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, at a fight team, 32 years old. He's 5-2 in the UFC. Last fight was a knockout win over Nate Marquardt, which made everyone say, "Please, Nate, cut the shit. Just stop. We don't want to see you die." But he doesn't give a shit. He's fighting. So, hey, as long as he's getting paid, I guess, do your thing. Anyway, Santos is riding a 4-fight win streak. Three of the four are knockout wins, actually. One of them is decision. And he's got wins over Andy N, Steve Bosse, or Bosse, however the hell you say that dude's name. I can never say it right. Elias Theodoro and Marquardt. And he shares a loss to Uriah Hall with Mousasi, but Santos lost by decision. So it wasn't a finish. So that's kind of what he should be happy about. Thiago Santos began his martial arts career training capoeira for 8 years, so that makes a lot of sense. Seeing some of his videos out there doing the capoeira stuff, and he almost looks like what's his name? I think it's Eddie from Tekken. If you guys ever played that game, dude's the capoeira dude, so it's pretty legit. So then he actually became a paratrooper in the Brazilian Army, and he then moved on to Muay Thai before making his professional debut in 2010. He was actually part of Tough Brazil in 2013, I think. So he's not inexperienced. He's been around, but he's definitely not as experienced as Mousasi. So kick it off here with Dave, man. So you got Gegard Mousasi, who claims he deserves a title shot, even though everyone booed him out the building in his last fight, and he just walked out, fingers out, F you, F this, and everyone go fuck themselves type of deal. Who are you picking in this one, dude?
Yeah, it's an interesting fight. I mean, you got the number 6 guy, at middleweight on the second fight of a card. So we've got a hell of a stacked card. Santos seems to be on a run, or he's attempting to go on a run. He's coming off the thrashing of Elias Theodoro. He's a 32-year-old guy. Mousasi, on the other hand, with the age factor, he's possibly one of the oldest 30-year-old guys that's in the UFC, and he's not the only one that's on this card. The other guy will be mentioned later, but at 30 years old, 38-6, Mousasi's got super experience. This fight is actually favoring. Everybody's got Mousasi 86%. It's another 86-14 fight. I don't see that being as accurate as the fight will be. I think it'll be a bit of a brawl. I think Santos is going to go in there and try to make a statement. I mean, much like anybody on this card is going to want to make a big statement, big card. I think a lot of fights are going to, that's going to factor in. I see Santos doing some damage. Mousasi's super calculated, a slick fighter. I think he has, multiple ways to win the bout. But Santos, super aggressive. I think they really, really get into it. A possible finish on either side. I'm favoring Gegard Mousasi, not by much. I think Santos is a live contender in this bout.
All right, and again, Mousasi we were talking on not too long ago about being a title contender. So Brandon, Brandon, it comes in like this. Thiago Santos is coming in. He's riding the 4-fight win streak. This is a perfect guy for Gegard Mousasi to beat to kind of legitimize that claim for a title shot. In fact, he just came out saying Hendo doesn't deserve it, kind of insinuating that maybe he does, which I don't believe, but still. Who are you picking in this one, man?
Yeah, I think it's a harder fight to call than most of the other fights, because just Thiago Santos is coming in on short notice, and there's always a worry when a guy is in a training camp and has to fight a guy on short notice. There's always a weird thing there, especially because Uriah Hall came in on short notice last time. So I'm a little nervous there, but Thiago is mostly a slow starter. Like, he couldn't really pull the trigger on Hall. He couldn't pull the trigger in the Theodoro fight until the third round. I think Mousasi is able to control him for 2 and submit him, get him out of there.
I mean, it's very, very possible. But you're right. I completely forgot Santos is kind of a slow starter. Now, I want to say Cowboy Cerrone-ish, but almost. All right. Let's see. Nick, what do you think about this fight, dude?
I'm kind of torn. This is one of the fights that I'm really torn towards. Another one's later on in the card. Like they said, it's going to be a really close fight, in my opinion. And Gegard Mousasi, he's going to be that heavy favorite, but I think Santos can do it. I think he's going to catch Mousasi slipping up, kind of like Uriah Hall did, and try to go for that finish. But that's the only way he's going to win this fight is by finish. I don't think he's going to get a decision win. I don't think he can grind a win against Mousasi, who is a grinder in that aspect. But I'm actually going to go with the underdog and go with Thiago Santos. I think he can finish him later on, and maybe late in the third or early in the third. I'm going to Santos on that one. Even though I like Mousasi, man, I think he could be a contender. I just think he needs to change up his game a little bit more. He leaves a lot of holes open, and especially in that, you saw it in that Uriah Hall fight with that spinning back kick. He left that wide open for him. So when he gets too comfortable is when it happens, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Like they said, Santos is a slow starter, but he'll end the fight pretty quick. So I think Santos will do it.
Yeah, and look, if Uriah Hall has proved anything, it's that Gegard Mousasi can be caught. And Gegard, definitely in his last fight, try to plug up those holes, make sure that wasn't the case in his last one. Jesse, who you seen in this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's surprising to me that the odds are the way they are. I mean, basically they got Santos at a 2-1 underdog. So I don't know, man. I think Santos is a live dog. I agree with Dave that he's gonna be able to make this kind of like more of a grindy fight, and he's gonna be able to put Mousasi in more dangerous positions. But I think all in all, Mousasi's experience and the way he strikes when he gets going, I think it's gonna spell trouble eventually for Santos if Santos doesn't pick up the pace and hurt Mousasi. We've seen it since he's been in the UFC. I mean, his 3 losses are to Machida, Jacare, and Uriah Hall. I mean, 3 guys that if you lose to, I mean, that's pretty good, man. Being in a decision against Machida, getting submitted, and who doesn't by Jacare, I mean, it's just 3 losses that you could really say and point at that. I mean, he's a top level guy. Title contender, not so much, but I think definitely a top contender. And I think just all that put together to me spells that Mousasi is going to be able to take this. It's not going to be easy, but I think he's going to be able to weather the storm and win this fight.
All right, and look, I like Mousasi in this one. I mean, his experience, pedigree, and he's way more careful than he used to be, especially in his last one. He didn't care that he bore the hell out of everybody. He was like, I'm getting the W, I don't give a shit. So if he comes in with that kind of attitude, I don't see why he wouldn't grind out the win. I think other than getting caught by Santos, it's his fight to lose, basically. So I guess most of us are going with Santos. I think we have one Santos right here, right, Nick? Nick picked Santos?
Yes, sir.
All right, real quick.
That underdog pick.
The underdog pick, yeah. Andrew Reed actually picked Takanori Gomi in the last one. He's picking Gegard Mousasi in this one.
Damn it, I'm switching my picks.
I got to go with Santos now, man. Fuck. All right.
Damn it.
Moving on to the next fight here. We got 2 guys that fucking been here forever. Diego Sanchez versus Joe Lozon. Sanchez is 28-8. He's 34 years old, out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Jackson Link MMA, of course, Dave knows that. He's seen his boy there, of course. 15-8 in the UFC. Last fight, December. A decision win over Jim Miller at 196. He's one of the legends of MMA. He's a guy that no matter what, he's going to bring a fight. He doesn't care who's in there. He doesn't care if he's injured, if he's 100%. Doesn't matter. This guy's coming to fight. He's coming to bleed or make somebody bleed or both of them. So Sanchez been in the UFC since 2005, and of course, I believe he's the last.
Oh, shit.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I thought Nick died for a second. Goddamn. But if I'm not mistaken, Diego Sanchez is the last remaining active member of the very first Ultimate Fighter season, right? Or is there somebody else?
Yeah.
He's the last one? Okay.
Yeah, he's the only one.
All right, he's the last one. There you go. Once he retires, then that's it for them. They'll probably put that whole season in the Hall of Fame if they have an UFC Hall of Fame because they don't have a legit one. Shit, my microphone's fucking up. Anyway, let me look in here. He's active. Yeah, he's the last active one. You know, he's a Jackson's MMA guy. He actually started at Jackson Submission Fighting when Jackson was by himself without Winklejohn. So he was there from the beginning, which is pretty legit. While he was working full time at UPS, he was training. So if it's any guy that really badly wanted it, it was Diego Sanchez. Meanwhile, Lozon is 24-12-0, 32 years old, out of Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and Lozon MMA. He's one of the more exciting guys in MMA. He loves bonuses, right? He'll knock you out, finish you, or get knocked out or finished on the ground in order to get that bonus. He's a legit, a legit dude on that one. So, actually, he grew up on a small farm, believe it or not, and he enjoyed bull riding, which is weird that he went from bull riding to, to fighting. Kind of weird, but I guess not. Now that I think about it. Ooh, hold up. There we go. He didn't begin training in martial arts until I think his junior year in high school, and he actually holds a bachelor's degree in computer science, and he actually worked in that before he started training full time. And then, went on to the Ultimate Fighter 5 with a BJ Penske, if I'm not mistaken. Lost to Manny Gamborian, who ultimately lost to Nate Diaz. And of course, I'm gonna give my boy Nate Diaz a shout out in any show possible. So, anyway, kick it off here with the Albuquerque boy himself. What do you think about this fight, dude? Who you got?
Yeah, man, it's a great matchup. I know a lot of fans have been looking forward to this bout. I think it's where it is on the card is a perfect placement for this bout. To throw numbers at you guys right away, Joe Lozon, number 21 in the world. Diego Sanchez, still number 29. They got the bout favored for Lozon 62 to 38%. I know Diego. I've seen him plenty of times in the gym. If you see the guy spar and see how intense of an individual he is, and just such a fierce competitor. Everybody knows what he does when he steps in that octagon. Last time he did fight, we did see a little smarter, an old school version of Diego, where he's taking you down the ground and pound and just being and taking a lot less damage. So, but this fight here, I think, like I mentioned earlier on the previous bout, it's a big stage. I know Diego's going to get up for that. He's going to want to showcase and maybe get a finish against Joe. And likewise, Joe's going to do the same thing, super aggressive. We know he possesses those meat cleaver elbows. Him and Diego are going to go at it. It's going to be a war. I'm favoring Diego Sanchez. I'm going with the underdog. Obviously, Albuquerque, New Mexico. I got to represent Jackson Wink MMA. And if you guys seen what Diego's been doing in the gym lately, he's more than ready. I think this fight is going to be, we can say possible fight of the night, but what's going to come after that? So, this is going to be really, a great fight, great placement on the card, fight of the night, and we'll see possibly.
Yeah, that's the thing about this card. It's so damn stacked. You can't really pick a fight of the night to begin with. But if I had to pick, I think Diego Sanchez would be a pretty good chance to get it. But again, too many crazy fights in this card. All right, Nick, who you picking here, man?
Like you just said, it's possible fight of the night or performance bonus of the night, one of them. Honestly, don't care who wins this fight. I'm one of the biggest fans of Diego Sanchez here. I like him. I'm excited for it. But Lozon, like you said, he either gets knocked out to get that bonus or knocks someone out to get that bonus. And I think I'm going to lean slowly, a little bit to Lozon. I think Lozon can do it. I know Diego wants to put on a show, and he's going to put on a show, but I think Lozon's going to not want to put on that show, and he's going to want to get a finish. So I think he's going to win by a sub. Maybe in the second round. The first round is going to be hectic. Second round, Lozon wants to get that win at 200 and possibly that bonus too. It's going to be a hell of a fight, but I'm leaning towards Lozon.
All right, Brandon, we got a brawler and we got a jiu-jitsu guy who doesn't mind getting punched in the face to get you to the ground and take your neck. Who are you picking?
Oh, man, I really don't even know in this one. I'm going Lozon just because I think he can be a little more technical when he wants to be, but if anyone gets finished in this fight, it'll be Joe, because Diego's not going to get finished ever. He'll never get submitted. He'll never get knocked out. So Joe has to be real careful with brawling with this dude. Joe loves to brawl too. So man, part of me thinks Diego by knockout, but I'll go with Joe by decision just because I don't know why. I really don't know why.
It's a hard one to pick, man. So Jesse, who you picking, man?
Yeah, this is an interesting fight. I think the odds makers have it right. Both of these guys are basically underdogs. They're both at Diego Sanchez minus 105, Lozon minus 115. So it's a pick'em fight. So you're looking at basically a coin flip, and it's really just that close. But I think I think we've seen Joe Lozon has that punching power to stop people. He's also, like we've talked about already, you guys have mentioned it. He's a grinder. He's a gamer. I mean, if he gets punched in the face, he's going to just sit in the pocket and try to trade with you and get you down, try to get you in his world. And if he can't do that, he's just going to, stand there and either get knocked out or knock you out. I mean, he tries to make it exciting. And like Brandon said, he's technical when he wants to be. But once he gets in there and he starts, getting punched, he's just a gamer. He's going to go. So I'm leaning towards Lozon. I think he's got more of an upside. I think Diego Sanchez, again, moving back up in weight. I mean, he's just trying to find a place to kind of, make his mark and just say this is where I'm going to end my career. So I don't know how much more of an upswing he can have than, just staying at 155 and having some exciting fights. So. It's just I don't like that when people when fighters try to move weights too many times to find a place to reinvigorate themselves or whatever. But so I think Joe Lozon's going to take this fight.
All right, man. I've always had a hard time picking against Diego Sanchez, and I'm not starting now. Taking my boy Diego, man. The guy just knows how to. He knows how to loot. He knows how to just get insane. Like, tell me you don't get super fucking psyched when Diego bites on his fucking mouthpiece and starts throwing rock and sock him. Like, you just like, holy shit, let's go, right?
But he's doing that from before he's in the locker room. When he's in the locker room, he's like already biting down on his mouthpiece, getting ready to go.
Yeah, no, dude, and like, dude, back when he first like started in the UFC, starting screaming yes the whole way to the fucking cage, doing the cartwheels, and the oh shit, what was that?
That's my tablet. My bad.
Oh, that's okay. No, but legit, I thought it was Jesse getting honked at by a fucking semi or some shit. Like, all right, all good. Anyway,
I was like, what?
Anyway, so I'm picking Diego, man. He's too crazy. If he becomes a brawl, he's gonna make it happen. So, anyway, Andrew Reed picking Joe Lozon as well, and so we got kind of divided. Yeah, well, you got to change your pick now, dude. You're agreeing with Andy on everything, dude. You might have to change your.
That is not good.
You're gonna have to change your strategy, my friend. That's just kind of where you're gonna have to be at. All right. So we go from that fight, moving on to the FS1 prelims. Hopefully, there won't be anything stupid like NASCAR or something on TV where we're gonna have to just fucking wait forever or go to FS2.
Whoa! Stupid NASCAR? Come on. Don't insult all those people.
Hey, time out, dude. You're Mexican. I know you don't watch that shit. Okay? Because I don't watch that shit either. So don't play.
Hey.
All right.
Hey, how do you not know that I'm just a really, really tan white guy? How do you know that?
Good point, but I heard your Spanish is pretty decent, so I never heard any white dudes speak like that. Anyway, all right, moving on. The FS1 prelims kick off 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time, with the two least experienced guys on the entire card, really. Sage Northcutt against Enrique Marin. Northcutt, of course, we know, 7-1-0, 20 years old, out of Katy, Texas, and Gracie Barra, Katy. I didn't know there was a Gracie gym in a small town like that, but hey, there it goes. 2-1 in the UFC. Last fight was a submission loss to Brian Barberena. Of course, we saw the super quick tap from a very inexperienced guy who didn't really understand what was going on, what was happening to him at that point. And so a lot of people kind of gave him a lot of people gave him shit, right? But I think most people gave him a pass. Like, hey, it's all right. You're way young. The UFC hyped you up way too much, and you just got fed to a killer who people thought was going to be a pushover. So, he was kind of like a victim of his own hype, really, at that point. At the same time, I'm not a fan of Northcutt at all, so I'm going to put that disclaimer out there right away. Dude annoys me for some reason. That whole thing, like, he was embedded. I don't know if you guys watched the last episode of Embedded, or not Embedded, the Looking for a Fight, and he meets up with Dana White in Texas on bull riding, and he right away goes, "Hey, Mr. White," and I'm like, "You fucking lying bastard." Nobody talks like that. Like, this isn't Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. All right, this isn't Mr. Rogers' neighborhood at all. All right, chill the fuck out. Anyway, his hype wasn't stomped out, but it was basically, kicked down a couple notches there by Barberena. Anyway, so Northcutt began training martial arts at 4 years old. We actually, and I don't know if it's the legitimateness of these numbers. Okay, I got this from Wikipedia. Fair warning. He has 77 world titles in karate, supposedly. All right. So I don't know how that works, but apparently you can win one like every day, like for 77 consecutive days, and just have that number on your record. So good for you. He's also an undefeated kickboxer at 15-0, and he wrestled in high school. Other than that, his biggest accomplishment is beating all the other sperm to the egg when he was born back in 1996. That's literally his only other accomplishments ever. Okay, so. Yeah.
Hey, my bird is going crazy. I'll be back. I'll be back.
No
Sorry
problem.
about that.
It's all good. Anyway, meanwhile, his opponent Marine is 9-3-0, way more experience in my opinion.
Not even the bird wants to hear the stats on
Awesome.
States
Fucking
Northcutt.
awesome. Thank you,
See
man.
that?
Anyway, so 9-3-0, 29 years old, out of Seville, Spain. Crazy Seville MMA, so they got pretty legit names out there. 0-1 in the UFC. His only fight actually in the UFC is a loss to Eric Montaño. He's brother of Augusto Montaño. That was at UFC Fight Night 78. He's a kickboxing guy, a jiu-jitsu fighter. Began training martial arts at 15 years old. He's won like European amateur boxing titles or kickboxing titles, and he's won some jiu-jitsu championships. The guy's pretty damn well-rounded, and he's taking out Sage Northcutt, who is one-dimensional-ish. He's just gonna blitz you till you get knocked out. So Jesse, what do you think about this fight? Who are you picking?
Oh man, it's a tough fight. I mean, I've heard a lot about Marine and stuff, and he's one of those guys that people talk about that if he gets everything together and he shows up on the day of the fight, he's a beast. He's gonna be a contender. Blah 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 blah. We haven't seen that yet. I mean, Eric Montaño was a good fight for him. Lost a split decision. It was a close fight. But I mean, he's on a 3-fight losing streak. I just don't see. This is kind of like a setup fight. It's kind of like, here, Northcutt, look good in this fight, so we can promote you more,
Mm-hmm.
and then so we can have you on show, so you can be like, oh, thank you, Mr. Helwani, thank you, Mr. Dana White, thank you, blah blah blah, and be the nice kid, the all-American kid, and then they can promote his Instagram so he can stand in front of statues smiling like he does. The thing that interests me the most is, I don't know if you guys listen to that podcast that I think it's the ex announcer for Bellator. It's Ben Askren and Joe Warren. I think it's called Lineup Media Podcast or something like that.
It's been a while since I heard it, but I know what you're talking about.
Joe Warren was talking about how he's known Sage Northcutt for a very long time. He's known him since he was a little kid, basically. And he says the real knock on him is his dad. That's the only problem with Northcutt, is that his dad is his coach, and his dad is a dumbass. He doesn't know how to coach him. He doesn't know MMA. He knows how to do, I think it's like karate or something, and I think that's where he gets, that's where he gets his experience from. But that's about it. Like, he doesn't really know MMA. And Joe Warren himself was saying that Northcutt needs to go to a big camp or a camp, and an actual camp, and actually train, because that's where he's gonna flourish the best. But at this point, training out of his dad's garage and under his dad's tutelage is not going to work. I mean, we've heard the stories about that Muay Thai guy that came over, tried to train with him, and it was a nightmare for him. And they're trying to blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of people that say that. When he went to train with GSP and them, it kind of got out that it was the same problem, that the dad wanted to take over, who was sparring with him, what they were doing, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's the problem on Sage Northcutt. He needs to go to a better gym, a bigger gym, and get away from his dad. All that to say that Northcutt, I think, is going to win this fight, just because Marine is just not at that level yet of being able to put it all together to be able to beat Northcutt like Barberena. Barberena is just a beast, as we've seen. So I think this is a gimme fight for Northcutt, layup, easy fight for him to win.
Right, and it seems like it's kind of like set up for him to win too. It's a weird fight. All right, Nick. We know Super Sage Northcutt took a girl, or supposedly took a girl. If anyone that doesn't know, Nick. Well, here's the thing. Nick has a bit of a crush on Paige Van Zandt, but it's only second to his love for Betch Correia. He loves him some Betch Correia. In fact, how the paper came out where Betch Correia said that she got a bunch of dick pics and masturbation videos from guys like looking at her pictures. Every single one was from Nick under a different screen name. All right,
exactly, 100%. I'm confessing right now.
UFC was this guy. All right, Nick, who you picking this one, dude?
I'm going with Sage. It is a feeder fight for him so they can hype the Sage Northcutt train back up for him. But I gotta agree with Jesse. Him training under his father in his garage and at that Gracie Baja gym in small Katy, Texas, it's not a good gym for him. Apparently, for this gym or for this fight, he actually went to American Top Team and trained for a little bit. And I think that would be a crazy good fit for him at a gym. I don't think TriStar would be super smart for him. I think American Top Team would train with the Robbie Lawler and everyone over there. I think that would be a smart move for him. And if he was training over there for a certain amount of time and he picked some stuff up from over there, I think he can show off and do a little bit more in this fight than push out a decision win or a blitz TKO real quick. But if Marine takes to the ground, 67% take or 67% submission wins. We see Northcutt tap out super easily. He's not used to being in positions like that and being forcefully choked like that. Probably in that Gracie Barra camp, but I don't know. I'm gonna go Sage Northcutt on this one. Like we all think, it's a feeder fight for him to get him back on top and to plaster him on every poster and fight pass and everything possible. So Northcutt 100%.
So, hey guys, I'm 19 years old. Sign up for Fight Pass. You can watch my fight. Shit like that. Fucking A.
Didn't he do that in his last fight too, where he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, hey, I'd like to thank everybody and join Fight Pass and all that crap."
Because
Yeah,
I'm 19 years old. And
He's so weird. He's just such a weird kid. All right, Dave, man, what do you think about this fight? Who you picking?
Yeah, you guys were all pretty much in agreement. This fight is a feeder fight. I want to see Northcutt win based on the fact that, with the win, he's going to fight some top competition. Throw numbers out there. Northcutt's ranked number 197 in the world right now. So that's how far down he is. And it gets even worse. His opponent's number 211. So this fight is tailor-made for Northcutt to win. But like I said, I want to see him fight somebody good. This is another Frankie Trevino bout, I guess you could say right here. But he could kind of say what he wants about his loss against Barberena. Barberena proved that he's game. He went into Brazil and took out Warley Alves. So he's up and rising too in his division. So he's doing things Northcutt wishes he was doing right now. But going forward, I think Northcutt improves. He'll get Marine out there pretty quickly, possibly first round. But I'm picking him based on, like I said, just want to see him move up and then face these better guys and see what the real Sage Northcutt's made of.
Yeah, here's the thing about Sage. It's I agree with you guys. His dad. His dad's the issue.
yeah.
His dad's always been the issue. He's the reason that he lost that last fight. He's the reason that he's not where he probably should be. Again, he's 20. He's a kid, But his dad holds him back. His dad pulled him out from TriStar, right? When he was training at TriStar, his dad's like, "Oh, you guys are going too hard." They pulled him out. So he's got too much control. Sage needs to get out of from his dad's grasp and go to a legit camp and ATT. Go back to TriStar for all I care. Jackson Winklejohn, where they're really good game planners and have strikers like Cowboy Cerrone to work with and ground guys like BJ Penn. What's that?
Yeah, that'd be something. If he's smart, he lives in Katy, Texas. Jackson's gym. Why not? I think he's got to venture out and see what he's really made of against the top guys and training with them on a daily basis. Jackson's gym. Where else are you gonna find him?
Oh my God! Can you imagine if Cowboy gets a hold of that kid? Gets him here, takes him out to the BMF ranch. Oh my God!
Yeah,
we'd have another John Jones on our hand, dude.
Oh, shit.
Well, here's the thing. That's kind of sort of my point. As long as you keep him away from fucking John Jones and shit and all that crazy shit. But training with the John Jones, who's a good striker and really good on the ground, wouldn't kill him. It would actually probably help him. And if BJ Penn stays at Jackson, his jiu-jitsu is insane. You can get Northcutt's jiu-jitsu to a decent level. We can have a legit all-round killer on our hands in that division. Enrique Marine, I'm not impressed by. Never have been. His first fight, I'm with you guys. I'm picking Northcutt. I think this is just literally like a gimme. Like, here you go, dude. Take him. So it's a really weird fight. It's Andrew Reed saying Northcutt is getting beaten again. His father is fucking up his training. That's the other factor. Still, his dad might fuck it up for him. So
yeah, that's truly possible.
Yeah, it's really weird. All right, next up we get a legit bout, 135 pounds. Number 1, TJ Dillashaw just lost to Dominic Cruz, obviously, against number 3, Rafael Sunsao. Dillashaw's 12-3, 30 years old, out of Denver, Colorado now. Elevation Fight Team, also with Dwayne Bang Ludwig up there in Colorado. He's 8-3 in the UFC. Last fight was that decision loss to Dominic Cruz. TJ wrestled pretty much throughout his life in California, and then he went out to college at Fulton State. He trained with Mark Munoz, who coached at Cal State or Cal State Fullerton. Apparently, there's 5 or 6 different Cal States. It's weird. And then they went on to train at Team Rain with Mark Munoz, who then suggested that he go to Team Alpha Male because apparently TJ wanted to be closer to home. So went up to Sacramento. TJ's from Angels Camp, California, and went over there. We know that whole story. Went up to onto The Ultimate Fighter with Bisping and Miller. He shocked the world by picking Henman Barao apart at 173, and then again on Fox 16 before losing to Dominic Cruz in January. He's also been involved in ridiculous drama, like stupid drama, right? Like stuff that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Some legit Uriah Faber shit with Team Alpha Male. So, he left Team Alpha Male when Dwayne Ludwig left them too, and now he's over at Elevation Fight Team and with Ludwig. Meanwhile, Sun Sao has been out forever with all kinds of injuries. Who even fucking knows what kind of injury he has? I know his last one was like a leg injury or some kind of some sort. 23-4-0. He's 33 years old, out of Brazil at Ascension MMA. 7-1 in the UFC. Oh, I'm sorry, out of Brazil. I think lives in Atlanta, where Ascension MMA is. I think that's where he trains. Yeah. So, before falling to injury, he was running a 7-fight win streak. People were talking about Sun Sao to be the next champion at 135. He wins over Dillashaw, obviously. Brian Caraway got beat by him. And then, coming into this fight, he's viewed as a legit threat at 135 if he can stay healthy. He stays healthy, he beats TJ, you can have a legit contender on our hands. If he comes into this fight, man, and he shows that he lost something in that time off, we just have TJ Dillashaw possibly fight for a title or hopefully fight Uriah Faber like we want. Everyone wants to see that fight. So starting out here with Jesse, man, what do you think about this fight?
Man, it's a tough fight because, as we know, ring rust is real. Unless your name is Dominic Cruz, then you have some magic juice that that it doesn't affect you somehow, or he really beats the hell out of people in his gym and he has legit fights. I don't know what the secret is for that guy, but I just don't think Sun Sao is going to be at that level. I think he's going to show that he's been off for a year. And yeah, I mean, he's a legit contender when he's active, when he's doing his thing. And I think TJ Dillashaw is just still pretty pissed off from his last loss. I think he's going to come in pretty hot, and he's going to come in hot as well because he lost, quote unquote, to Sun Sao. I mean, it was a close fight, and going back, I mean, you could score it either way. I mean, it was a close fight. So I think TJ takes this fight because he's been more active. He's got his new style. And I think that's going to pose problems for Sun Sao as well, his movement and everything. Basically that tutelage by Dwayne Ludwig is just doing wonders for the Dillashaw. He's got to get, he's just got to do more. He's got to be more active, and I think he's going to show that in this fight. And I think we're going to have a legit contender after that.
Definitely. All right. And so, real quick, Andrew Reed saying TJ's going to win this one. He's the true number one contender.
Never mind.
Huh?
Sun Sao's going to kill him in the middle of the octagon. He's just going to snap his neck, and that's it.
And then Mike Jarvis saying he's got a Sun Sao on this one. And they're kind of going back and forth on the YouTube comments about Misha's face is like a box of smashed crabs.
God
damn it, Mike!
Shit.
Look under the neck for a second. Under the neck. God damn. All right. So I look away for like 5 seconds, and if Andrew Reed and Mike Jarvis are anywhere in there, it gets fucking hilarious on there. So I have to take a second to read that. All right, Dave, who you picking in this one, man?
Yeah, this is an interesting bout. I mean, Sun Sao, he's got the time off, 33 years old. The octagon rust, obviously, I think we'll probably see that. Dillashaw still, like Jesse had mentioned, he's still pretty fired up. He fought a close fight with Dominic. Dominic's the top guy. He's only getting better. Dominic, believe it or not, is still, becoming a greater mixed martial artist, as is Dillashaw. It's kind of weird that I seen Dillashaw was over at Camp TriStar. It's kind of strange that how do you go from, being tight with the guys at Elevation and then being up at TriStar, just kind of intermittently training. I've seen that, so I don't know if there's some type of beef with Ludwig, so that's weird. I thought that was very strange. But this does this fight's big time favorite for Dillashaw. I think a lot of people are picking Dillashaw on this one. I think Sun Sao makes it real competitive. It's going to be a decision, I think, since it's a 3-round fight. I think Sun Sao does win it by decision, in which it possibly sets up a Dillashaw, Uriah Faber bout, maybe even a Cody Garbrandt fight as well. But so interesting, even in the loss for Dillashaw, but it'll be a big loss. But then again, losing to the same guy twice is never good. So Dillashaw absolutely doesn't want to do that, especially in this division. I think very close fight. Sun Sao wins it, not by much, but an entertaining, great fight though, nonetheless.
Yeah, and definitely that's a good point. You don't want to lose the same guy twice, especially if that guy is a guy like a Sun Sao who's still riding that win streak and could possibly take your spot as a contender. All right, Nick, who you picking? 135ers up, TJ, Sun Sao, who you got?
I'm picking TJ. I think he wants to get back at that belt that he lost. Or first off, do that Uriah Faber fight because that's going to be a good fight overall. And then move his way up back to Dominic Cruz after he beats Uriah Faber. In my opinion, I think that's a good fight. But yeah, I'm picking TJ, man. I think his fighting style is gonna trump Asansao's fighting style, and I don't know, man. It's going to be another entertaining fight. This whole card has my mind blown. I'm so excited for this card, and this is going to be one of those fights. But I'm going TJ. He wants his belt back, and he's going to fight for it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, here's the thing. TJ, remember when he lost to Dominic Cruz? He like when they announced the decision, TJ kind of crawled back and sat on the ground. He's kind of like looking like 1,000-mile stare, like I did everything I could do, and I didn't win, you know. And a lot of the times, those kind of losses take the confidence out of you. So I wonder if he still has that same confidence to go out there and beat a guy like a Renan Barão. Like he picked the Renan Barão apart. He shocked the world, legitimately shocked the world in that. You know, nobody thought he had a chance. And then just watching him zip from side to side, popping Renan Barão would throw a punch back, and TJ would be gone before he even, you know, before the punch was halfway through or halfway to hit him. So that's my concern with TJ. Is the confidence there or gone? Is it you know, is it you know, it's just weird for me. I can't pick TJ confidently, really, but I'm gonna pick him because it's sometimes been gone forever. And like I said, Dominic Cruz can say all he wants to about, you know, ring rust isn't real and that sort of stuff. Fine, I get it. But Asanzao has been gone for a while with you know, big time injuries. And you know, maybe Jesse's right. Maybe he, you know, Dominic Cruz took a sip of, you know, Michael's secret stuff from Space Jam and fucking came back and it was all good. So you know, I'm picking TJ as well. And please make that Faber fight. That's the fight we all want to see. Make the Faber fight. And then give him Cruz again, or feed him to Cruz again if you want to. I don't really care. Or John Dodson. John Dodson fight would be legit. I want to see that.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, I talked to Dodson in the gym. He said he wants that fight. So if DJ does happen to lose, he does want that fight. But John wants any big fight he can get in that division, and I think he gets some good opponents going forward. He's trying to go on a run at 35. So Dillashaw, he's eyeing for sure.
All right. Now moving on to the next fight here, we got actually you guys tell me. I didn't pay attention. Are they welterweights or middleweights? Number 6 Johnny Hendricks against number 12 Kelvin Gastelum. Their biggest fights is always with a scale, pretty much every time. Now supposedly they got to figure it out. All right. I know Gastelum supposedly has a plan to figure it out when not. I still question both of them as far as weight cuts go, but you know what are you gonna do? Anyway, Hendricks is 17-4-0. He's 32 years old, out of Ada, Oklahoma. Actually, Don Manos is actually, I think he's from there. He's been there or something, but he would know how to say Ada or Ada, whichever one it is. Now, as far as his training goes, is Team Takedown still a thing, or did they go under already?
No, he went away from them.
Yeah,
they were taking his paycheck, man.
Yeah, because I remember he was like the word was that they were going out of it, like they were going under. So it's kind of weird. Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys heard, Black Zillions is in trouble. I'm not surprised whatsoever. So, the guy that owns it, man. I watched a little bit of that Tough Season, and the little bit that I watched, I really disliked that Robinson guy. So, not surprised at all that they're going under too. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know. Do you know where he's training? By himself or somewhere else? Anyone heard of it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he may just be running his own camp. I'm not quite sure. Because I know the last time it affected the Wonder Boy fight, because I heard an interview where he said he just had a hard time just getting training partners, well, especially getting guys to kind of duplicate what Wonder Boy is going to be doing in the first place. But there was a rift and a beef the last camp. That's what I heard. And then that's kind of the excuse, I guess, or whatever he said for the performance that he went in there with. So
shit, that affects my pick for sure. Well, kind of. It kind of just reassures it, to be honest with you. Anyway, all right. So again, Johnny Hendricks, who knows what the fuck he's training with who? He's 12-4 in the UFC. Last fight, that TKO loss to Stephen Thompson at Fight Night 82. Former welterweight champ. He's seen better days, but you know his record: notable wins over T.J. Grant, John Fitch, Josh Koscheck, Martin Kampman, Carlos Condit, Robbie Lawler. And I think he beat Matt Brown too before. So he has or had a monster left hand. We haven't seen it forever. There's like wanted posters for it. We're trying to figure out where the fuck it went. But his wrestling's still there. Always helps him get wins. And he's just a weird guy, to be honest with you. Like every time I see any of his freaking interviews, he just weirds me out. So it's like it's one of those guys that like I wouldn't want to talk to ever. Honestly, he was like, dude, you creep me the fuck out. Anyway, and again, history of hard time making weight. So I didn't pay attention. I'm gonna have to look this up in a second, see what weight this is at. But if it's at welterweight, I'm questioning it again. Anyway, Kelvin Gastelum, he's 12-2, and 24 years old out of Yuma AZ down here, way south, in probably the hardest part of this state right now. Out of Yuma United MMA, but he's also had camps elsewhere. I'm pretty sure he's gone to California to train. I forgot where. I think just you would know.
Kings MMA.
That's right, Kings MMA. So, good place to go if your striking is kind of shitty or needs fine tuning. Anyway, Gastelum's he was part of TUF, the Ultimate Fighter, Jones versus Sonnen, where he was on Chael Sonnen's team. Made it to the finals, and he took Uriah Hall. Honestly, he was an underdog, and he took Uriah Hall, took him the decision, took the win. Anyway, Gastelum was a championship wrestler in high school in Yuma. Went to Northern Idaho College for a year before he became a professional fighter. And then he's also a guy who has trouble making weight. Of course, we were talking about. So a move down to welterweight was strange after Uriah Hall at middleweight. There we go. But it was a strange move down to welterweight after he fought Uriah Hall at middleweight, right? They all competed at middleweight. But he said himself he moved down because he felt he was weaker. He felt like a strength disadvantage at 185, so he moved down to 170. And he's done okay, but he's missed weight a couple times. So I'm going to look up right now what this fight is at. But, Dave, what do you think about this fight, dude? You got two guys who, honestly, they both need a win to get back in any kind of rhythm. Who you got?
Yeah, if you want the numbers on that one, I think they got Johnny Hendricks -25, Gastelum +105. They got 65% Hendricks, 35% Gastelum. Those numbers are via Tapology.com. But Johnny Hendricks in this fight here, like I mentioned before in the previous training camp, he just had a lot of things that went wrong for him, whether it's nutrition, his conditioning, his sparring partners. So I think he's got that in line for this camp. I think he's trained pretty hard to get a win against Gastelum. I know Gastelum's a rising guy. You mentioned 24-year-old guy. Recall all his fights from Team Chael Sonnen. So he's well competitive, well trained. He's last fought, I think, back in last November. So he's been off for a little while, but he's definitely well rested. He's healthy, as well as Johnny Hendricks. So I think this fight is going to be an exciting bout. I think the wrestling possibly could cancel each other out, and they could just kind of duke it out. But deer meat, Johnny Hendricks, like you mentioned earlier, his left hand, that guy, I mean, that was a sight to see. Johnny was just knocking people dead for quite some time. So I don't see him finishing Gastelum in that manner. I see him, getting a decision, a grind-out decision. But it's a close fight. I'm leaning Gastelum, but I can see Johnny squeaking out a decision. But this fight definitely goes to a decision, in my opinion.
Did Eddie drop off? Maybe.
Yeah, I can hear you, Jesse. Yeah.
All right, then. Jesse, you want to go with your pick? Who do you think is going to take this one, Hendricks or Gastelum?
Yeah, man. Honestly, it's a tough fight just because of the fact that I think the better days are behind Johnny Hendricks. I mean, it's sad to say that because I was excited to see him on his climb to the championship. They're contesting this at welterweight. And I think Kelvin Gastelum, he's kind of finally realized what he's losing if he keeps missing weight. So I think he buttoned that up. The thing with Hendricks, though, to me, is that he makes so many excuses for everything that goes wrong. He never is accountable for anything. And the only time he is accountable is when he just can't make any more excuses. And then he does this, oh, shucks, well, I guess it is my fault because of this and that. But he still puts in a built-in excuse into it, Like, it's always somebody else's fault. It's always something else that happened. It's always, he never takes responsibility. He lost that fight against GSP, and he was like, he didn't pull the trigger as much as he could have. And instead of saying, yeah, I didn't pull the trigger enough, oh, well, I thought I was winning that fight, and the judges kind of screwed me. Come on, dude. You can't keep making excuses. The same thing when he lost his title against Robbie Lawler. I mean, it's just excuse after excuses, and I'm tired of hearing it. I just don't think Johnny Hendricks is there anymore. I think that Johnny Hendricks that knocked out who was it? I forgot who he knocked out. John Fitch. He knocked John Fitch out dead. Martin Kampman. Some of those exciting knockouts were awesome, and I wish we still had that Johnny Hendricks, but I don't think he's not there anymore. I mean, you listen to a lot of the people that know him very well, and he comes into the training camps fat, out of shape, not really wanting to do the weight cut. It's just not. I don't know. He just doesn't have that championship quality anymore. Ever since he got the gold, it's kind of seemed like that's about it. Like, yeah, I'm good with having won it. So I'm going Gastelum. I think his striking is going to take over this fight, and his wrestling, he's going to be able to mix it up well, and he's going to be able to really put a beating on Hendricks. I think the beating that he took from Thompson, I think we're going to kind of see almost a repeat of that in this fight.
Yeah, and I gotta completely agree with you there. I'm going Gastelum on this. I think Hendricks, he like you said, he does make up a lot of excuses for his fights of what's going on, and he never takes ownership of his fights. Ever since he lost the belt, he's been doing that. And like Eddie said, that left hand has a wanted sign on it. Where is it? We haven't seen it in a little while. I think he should use his base, his wrestling base, and try to get a win here, but I don't think he's going to do it. He's going to try to duke it out. He's going to try to hit him with that left hand. I think Gastelum's going to end up taking that decision win. I think Hendricks' career is on the downfall, just like his gym did and just like his restaurant did up there in Dallas. His restaurant
Big Red Steaks?
Big Red Steaks is gone, man. It's not there anymore. So it's ended up like his career, and I think he's slowly dwindling down. He needs to change his game plan up. He needs to go back to his wrestling base and find that left hand again, but needs to set it up properly. But like I said, I'm going Gastelum. What's up?
Something off of what you said. I think he has the same problem as what we were mentioning with Sage Northcutt. I think he would benefit from going back to a big camp or a just well-oiled camp to just kind of get him in the groove. Like basically, like to me, a Faraz Zahabi or maybe even a King's MMA, like somewhere where they're not going to put up with his excuses, somewhere where they're just going to hold him accountable. Because to me, him doing it himself, kind of like the whole Brock Lesnar thing, you know, we'll probably talk about that as well later, but when you're just doing it yourself and you're kind of paying for everybody to come and help you and train, nobody's going to say no to you. Nobody's going to say, hey, Johnny, you shouldn't have that extra steak, you know, or extra steak sauce or whatever. Don't have that butter on that potato or whatever the hell he's doing, you know? And I think if he's held accountable and he's at somewhere where they're going to be like, dude, if you don't show up for you know, second practice, third practice, your ass is going to be in trouble. I think he needs that to really get to where we want him to be, have that power, have that aggression, have what he had before.
Yeah.
By the way, I found Hendricks' left hand. It knocked out every Google Hangouts goddamn engineer that came to this fucking thing work right. So Johnny, throw that shit again. Fuck those guys. Anyway, so everybody went, or who's left?
Yep, everyone went.
Me? All right. Look, again, Johnny Hendricks, like, where's that left hand? Where's the fire? Dude has just lost. It seems like he lost something, and he hasn't been able to get it back. And, you know, distractions left and right, the weight cut, no gym anymore. Just like Dave was saying, he had a hard time getting sparring partners for anything. Who knows if he got sparring partners for this one? It's too many question marks for Johnny. I think he's going to go in here not focused at all, get in there, and Kelvin Gastelum's going to dominate him, get a decision win, or even a TKO like in the second round, third round. So I got Kelvin in this one as well. And it sucks because Johnny Hendricks used to be pretty legit. Remember when he hit Martin Kampmann with that left and dropped him like Kampmann dropped like he died? Yeah, Kampmann looked like he died. Like, you know, his body just went stiff and he dropped. So we missed that Johnny Hendricks. Weirdo, but fucking, you know, badass in the cage. Now he's just a guy, you know, and he's in danger of being forgotten very quickly, if not already. All right, moving on here to the next fight. Women's bantamweight. We get Kat Zingano back. Number 3, Kat Zingano. Number 5, Juliana Pena. Zingano's 9-1-0, 34 years old, out of Broomfield, Colorado. Zingano Jiu-Jitsu and also Elevation Fight Team. She's 2-1 in the UFC. Last fight was a submission loss to, you know, former champ Ronda Rousey at UFC 184. So it's been a while since she fought. Zingano's a huge fan favorite, and she can turn any fight into a brawl pretty quickly. In fact, she doesn't mind brawling. And if you guys watched any I think I know. Jesse was talking about the JRE with Brendan Schaub and Joe Rogan. They actually talked about Kat Zingano. She didn't like the game plan. Apparently now with Elevation Fight Team, she's gonna game plan. So we'll see if that changes any outcomes for her. But before she just wanted to get in there and fight, which is weird for anybody to see that a professional fighter didn't want to game plan for somebody. And look, running at Ronda Rousey was the worst thing you could have done. Just the most dumbest thing you could have done. It was almost as dumb as Ronda Rousey going forward at Holly Holm trying to pressure a legit, like, you know, killer on the feet. So it was weird. Anyway, she's basically fighting for a title shot, I think, on this card, right? I mean, for 135, women's 135 still not deep enough to where you can say, oh, no, Kat needs 2 or 3 more wins. She's been gone for too long. No, she could legitimately win this and possibly get a title shot, right? Depending on what happens with Nunes and Tate and how that fight goes down. So a little bit of background on Zingano. She wrestled in high school, wrestled at University of Cumberland's, and McMurray College. She became a 4-time All-American and a national champion. She has many jiu-jitsu tournament championships, and I think she also won the Worlds in Los Angeles a few years ago. And she's had to deal with personal issues and injuries, of course, and the unfortunate passing of her husband, Mauricio Zingano, in 2010. So she's dealt with everything. She's a single mother. She's as tough as they come, in and out of the cage for sure. Pena's 8-2-0. She's 26 years old, out of Spokane, Washington. Sick Jitsu MMA, which I love the name Sick Jitsu. It's slick. It's almost like Jiu-Jitsu, like with Benavidez. I'm a fan. Anyway, she's 3-0 in the UFC. Last fight was a decision winner over Jessica Eye at 192. She's actually a product of the Ultimate Fighter. She was on Team Tag. She's actually a really good friend of Misha Tate's, and but she has a myriad of like personal issues. Like, look, she's a wrestler. She can ground and pound. She's good with that, right? Mentally, she's got a bunch of personal issues she has to deal with. Obviously the training accident where Dana White started talking about, oh, forget that gym, go somewhere else, go somewhere legit, because one of her partners injured her during training supposedly, or Dana thought it was because they were goofing around. Pena says they were training. Who even knows the real story on that? But more recently, she was arrested in Spokane and charged with assault after trying to enter a bar that was already closed after being in a street fight. Apparently, she was trying to get help for her friend. They went and let her in. She assaulted somebody. You can't do that. And that issue is still pending, which, believe me, it's in her head somewhere. Somewhere in the back of her mind, that issue's in there. That's a problem, especially against a high-level fighter like Zingano. So, Dave, plenty of factors here. Zingano's been gone for a while. She's an older fighter. She's a more experienced fighter, but she hasn't fought in a while. Pena's young, hungry, but she's got personal issues. And as far as the fighting styles go, Zingano's more of a stand-up with good jiu-jitsu and legit wrestling, and Pena's kind of just a wrestler, that wants to get you in the ground and ground and pound you. So it's kind of a weird fight, but who are you picking?
Yeah, this fight, it's good to see Kat Zingano back in there. Absolutely hated her, like you guys mentioned, her strategy against Ronda. That was the worst thing you could see. I mean, she had tremendous upside. She possibly could have, fought Rousey a lot better, maybe took the title from Rousey then. We'll never know. But going forward now in this bout that she has set up here for 200, with the win, with the division the way it stands right now, even with Holm and Shevchenko in a couple weeks, I think Zingano in impressive fashion, if she does win, she's right back in contender status. I think she's rededicated herself. I've seen a lot of her training and kind of her physique on what it was, closer to 6-7 months ago to what it is now. So she looks in great shape. Everybody's favoring her in this bout. It's 76-24, minus 175 favorite, plus 145 underdog Pena. But both girls coming off the layoff, so I think it's going to be a great fight. I mean, it's positioned well on the card, as like I mentioned, a couple fights where the matchmaking and where they put them is great. So this fight here, definitely a lot on the line. Kat Zingano, I'm picking her. I think she gets it done inside 3 rounds. I think she's pretty impressive, and she's going to come out and reinvent herself back in that division. And it's a totally different division in which Amanda Nunes could also throw a wrench in the entire deal and upset Misha later in the evening as well. So.
Yeah, and again, depending on how that Nunes Tate fight goes, it could be a crazy fight, and the UFC might be like, oh, immediate rematch. Again, not a deep division there, not a deep 135 division, so it's really easy to do rematches there. I mean, we saw it with pretty much everybody at 125 flyweight with DJ. Now he's like fighting guys over and over again. It's getting kind of ridiculous. Real quick, Thug Life MMA on the YouTube goes, if McGregor beats Diaz, Eddie Law will get a Gay Jesus tattoo? ? Hell no. Hell no. That's not happening. That's just weird. That's on some fucking John Anik shit. Look, all credit to John Anik. He got the 209 tattoo on his arm somewhere. All right? Good for him. Good job, dude. Appreciate that. I ain't getting no Gay Jesus tattoo. I want to get a regular Jesus tattoo. It's not happening, bro. Come up with something else. Anyway. He also said, one of my favorite comments I've read ever on YouTube, he says, USADA are cunts. I don't know why, but I like that. It's just, all Brazilians like that as well. All right? I'll tell you that right now. All right. Jesse, what do you think about this fight, dude?
Oh man, I think I agree pretty much with what Dave said. I think the best thing that Zingano could have done for herself is to go and be at a better gym than she was before. She wasn't happy at the gym she was at. She had to get away from where she was at. I mean, her husband and all that stuff. I mean, it's just you gotta just get away from those situations. You can't stay there, and it's just not good for you mentally. And I think her going to alliance with Dominic Cruz being one of the smartest guys, probably, he has the best fight IQ. Every time he has a breakdown of a fight, I mean, it's just, I drool because that guy just the nuances of what he says and how he describes what people do and stuff. It's amazing. So I think just that alone is going to be able to provide her with, the knowledge to be able to beat Juliana Pena. She's young, she's tough, but she's still raw, in my opinion. She's still, not refined. And I think she needs a little bit more fights, more experience to really get that to where eventually I think Juliana Pena is definitely going to be a contender in the women's division. I just think she's running into Kat Zingano at the wrong time. I think she's just going to run through her. I don't think this is going to be that hard of a fight for Zingano. I think she's so focused and dedicated on that title. I think she's just going to make short work of Pena.
Yeah, and real quick before we get to Nick Pilecki here, it's actually true. Dwayne Wade is going to the Chicago Bulls, so you're down to a guy that can't play because he's got blood clots, and Chris Bosh, and a really tall guy that can only swat blocks and get some rebounds. So sorry, I guess. Anyway, the whole NBA is screwed, so let's not even talk about it. Anyway, Nick, again, super experienced, Kat Zingano. I'm assuming discipline at this point. I think that Ronda Rousey thing was kind of like a weird thing. She just kind of freaked out for a second because maybe she got caught up in the moment. But she's usually a pretty disciplined fighter. Juliana Pena, and apparently in her personal life, not disciplined at all. And that kind of shit comes in the cage with you sometimes. So it's a weird fight. And I don't know, who you picking?
It is a weird fight. I really like Juliana Pena a lot. I think she has potential to be up there in the contenders, but not yet. Like you said, she has a lot of personal stuff going on in her life that is in the back of her mind and messing up her training camp and everything like that. Kat Zingano, we've all said it. She fucked up during the Ronda Rousey fight. Worst thing that you can ever do against Ronda Rousey. I think she wants to avenge that loss and slowly climb herself back up to the championship. But like you said, this division's crazy. We could get a rematch after this Nunez fight. We can get Holly Holm. Possibilities are endless. But I think Kat Zingano wants that belt. She's had a tough career, like everyone said, with her husband passing and injuries and everything like that. But she's ready. She's down, and I'm ready for it. So Kat Zingano all the way. It's going to be a crazy fight, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, in this fight, man, I'm actually leaning towards experience. I'm leaning towards someone that's gone through some shit, has lived through some shit, and is tougher because of it. So picking Kat Zingano in this one as well. I don't know if she runs through Pena. I think Pena's going to give her a few different looks, but I also don't think it's going to be a decision win. I think Kat Zingano's going to finish her at some point. So, yeah, I guess that's a pick on that one. And hopefully Kat Zingano, I think, gets a title shot on this one. She deserves it, in my opinion, but that's a topic for a different show, I guess. All right, moving on. Main card time on pay-per-view, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Kicking it off with the heavyweights. Former heavyweight champion, number 2 ranked Cain Velasquez against number 7 ranked Travis Brown. And Velasquez is 13-2. He's 33 years old, out of San Jose, California, a.k.a. I'll be the first one to say that I'm incredibly surprised he made it to fight week. I'm incredibly surprised he didn't drop out. Like, I didn't even think about it for a while, and then I saw him at the presser, and I was like, get the fuck out, Cain made it? That's insane. All right, let's see what you got, boy. Like, so I'm hoping he shows up healthy. Anyway, he's 11-2 in the UFC. Last fight was a submission loss to Fabrice Verdum, where he lost his belt at UFC 188. So
first he got his ass kicked, then he submitted.
He got his ass he's made Verdum, motherfucker. Anyway, Velasquez is regarded as one of the best, if not, he basically is one of the best heavyweights of all time. There was competition; he might have been the best ever. And he's not in the conversation with Fedor or Emelianenko, but you had to put Fabrice Verdum in there because Fabrice submitted both of those guys. So you can make the argument Fabrice Verdum might be the best heavyweight to ever do it. But gonna do that MMA match shit all day trying to figure that out. All right, so Cain's wrestling and cardio are thought to be his best tools in the cage, but possibly his biggest problem really is the injuries, right? There's always injury. I just said it a second ago. I'm surprised he made it to the fight. That dude's always hurt. Shoulder issues, back issues, neck issues. He's always beat out in some place. So just surprised he made it, but glad he made it because he's one of my favorite fighters for sure. He was raised in Yuma, Arizona. He's from California originally. He put together 110-10 record in 4 years of wrestling in Arizona. 5A state or 2-time 5A state wrestling champion. 5A is the highest level of athletic competition you could do here in Arizona in the public school system. he also played linebacker in high school, and he's a big dude, so did his thing. He went on to Iowa Central Community College, where he wrestled for 1 season, won the what do they call it, the National Junior or JUCO, whatever, basically NCAA, but for junior colleges. He won the title there, then transferred to Arizona State, where he compiled an 86-17 record. A school that also brought out Ryan Bader and Stephen Collier, so he comes from a pretty legit background. Travis Brown, meanwhile, 18-3-1, 33 years old, now out of LA. Used to be a Jackson's guy. Now he's out of Los Angeles, California, Glendale Fight Club. 9-3-1 in the UFC, and his last fight was that TKO eye poke finish over Matt Mitrione, where he gouged the guy's fucking eye out and wasn't able. Matt Mitrione wasn't able to get that at least a draw or no contest out of it. Brown still has that win on there. So Brown has had a weird road in the UFC. Put together 3 wins, then he lost, I think, against Fabricio, had his streak snapped, but more is being made of his relationship with Ronda Rousey. More being talked about him and Ronda than is about his footwork. That's really good. His hands, he's got range. The guy is a scary, scary heavyweight, and everyone's only talking about the drama, of the stuff that with him and Ronda Rousey. So kicking off with Dave here, who are you picking, man, and why?
Yeah, it's a crazy good fight right here. It's a necessary matchup for the division. Travis Brown, like you said, used to be affiliated with Jackson's. I actually used to see him running down the neighborhood right near my house occasionally. So I'm a fan of Travis, although Kane is coming off the long layoff. He made a huge mistake against Fabricio in defending his belt down there. We all know what played out down in Mexico City. But it'll be Kane's 14th UFC bout. This fight, a lot of people are favoring Kane in this bout based on the striking and the wrestling, because Travis Brown, doesn't have the greatest striking coach in the world. You guys all know who he trains with. But this fight, they got it 89%, 11 to Cain Velasquez. So what's the crazy thing about this entire fight is, we've heard John, we've heard Daniel Cormier go back and forth. Cain is just kind of the guy in the background. There was not really a whole lot of promotion. He was just kind of there. Former world champion, only 1 fight removed from being the champ, but yet no promotion. So I've heard a lot of fighters also mention that as well too. So very strange how they did that, but I'm leaning towards Cain Velasquez in this one. I think he comes out pretty vicious. Travis Brown's known to get in those wars. He's a devastating, dangerous guy, like you said, Eddie. No knocking him. I think he's going to bring it to Cain, and these guys are going to get at it. I think Cain gets him out of there in under 2 rounds. It's going to be a super exciting bout. Another fight of the night possibility right here in this one.
All right, Nick, who you picking?
Have to completely agree. Fight of the night possibility here, but my pick's going to go with Travis Brown. I think Cain, coming off the injury and coming off that loss with Verdum, it's hurting him. I think he needs to change up his game plan a little bit. A couple of these fighters on these cards need to change up the game plan a little bit. But it's a heavyweight fight, man. Anything can happen. Cain could hit him with the 1 and lay him out. Hoffa can knock him out with 1 and end the bout. But I'm going with Travis Brown on this one.
All right. Look, I've made no buts about it. Jesse hates Cain Velasquez because he's not a Kings guy. If he was a Kings guy, Jesse would be over his nuts. So who you picking, Jesse?
Well, there you go. You got my pick. I'm going with Travis Brown. I agree with what Nick was just saying. We all know the big knock on Cain. It's his injuries. He trains way too hard. He trains way too stupidly. He's just like a caveman. I'm just gonna keep going. My arm's falling off. Just tape it on. No, man. You gotta listen to your body. You gotta be able to get to these fights, man. You got to be able to get to these fights near 100%. You can't be in these gym wars. You just can't do this stuff, And again, I'm referencing JRE again. They were talking about that. His shoulder, his back, his knees. What else is going to go out on this guy? He's been wrestling for a very long time. All that just is a grinding, horrible thing for a big guy, especially a big guy like Cain. I think the worst thing Cain could do is try to throw a bull on Travis Brown, because we've seen what Travis Brown does. He throws those nasty elbows from the top, and I think that's probably what's going to end up happening here. I think Travis Brown ends the night for Velasquez pretty early, and I think Velasquez probably needs to change the camp. I think it's time for him to do different instead of just take some time off and recover and then come back with a different camp, and he can still be one of the best. It's not a knock on him. He trains and everything. It's such a antiquated way of training. I think he needs to switch it up and something better for himself. But Travis Brown by KO.
All right, look, man. I'm not picking against Kane. It's my boy. I've been riding till since when he started, I picked him, and until he's done, I'm gonna pick him. But here's why.
Brown pride.
Huh?
Brown pride too, of course. Pick him.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Fucking. So here's the thing about Kane, and Mike Job's already throwing the jokes. He says Kane will injure himself in pre-fight warm-ups and pull out of the fight. Dude, I swear to God, that's possible. That's fucking possible with Kane, all right? Don't even joke, all right? Anyway, here's why. Look, if Kane can get inside on Travis Brown, which is possible if he avoids the eye pokes and just does this shit all the way in, he can attack the body, he can get the clinch, he can pressure Travis Brown. It's can Travis Brown handle that pressure? I think he can. I think it's gonna be a crazy fight that no one understands how the fuck it goes down. I think we're gonna see something new out of Kane because we have to see something new out of Kane. And it might just be who gasses out first, who's still there in the third round, and who can put what the fuck? Holy shit! Are you guys looking at Twitter right now?
No.
He just tweeted out Brock Lesnar is versus Mark Hunt is a new main event for UFC 200.
What the fuck?
Yeah, dude. What the hell?
Are you sure it's not Izzy? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. I would love to say that, but UFC itself just tweeted that out.
Holy shit! You got to be kidding.
Hold on, let me see what happens with it.
I seen it from Mike Bone or Bond.
No, MMA Fighting just tweeted it out too.
Okay, somebody find out exactly what happened. What the hell is going on with John Jones? Is it Joe?
Man, that's unbelievable. That's fucking bullshit.
Wait a fucking
minute. I'm kind of pissed now.
Well,
okay,
at least
what the hell?
Yeah, we caught it in time. I mean, that way we can still, break it down. That's the crazy shit right there. Okay. I can't believe that.
All right. Well, when the second one or the next one, I'm gonna finish my point here, but I'm gonna start looking around, seeing what I can find out. But this is insane. Literally, right when we're doing the show, right before we get to the co-main event, or before we get to the third, fourth fight, whatever, Dana White announces the new main event for UFC 200 is Mark versus Hunt versus Brock Lesnar. So something must have happened with Daniel Cormier. I think it's gonna be him. I think it's gonna be a weight cut issue. Oh my God, dude! UFC was notified that USADA has flagged John Jones for potential anti-doping policy violation.
Fucking knew it. Fucking knew it. Fucking knew it.
Holy shit! John Jones is some shit. Wow. Wow.
I'm gonna say it now. I'm gonna say it now. Bye bye John Jones' career. 100%.
Yeah, that's a great call. Yeah, that's a bold statement, but that's true though. I mean, my God, there's just been so much stuff that's happened, and for this to happen at at this time, that is just ridiculous.
That's horrible.
And it's kind of weird too. It's weird, guys, too. You know what's kind of strange? All these fighters, everybody that's competing at these cards that were already there, they were there. They show these embedded, and John's still here in Albuquerque. I thought he'd already be there, so I thought that was kind of strange as well. So I don't know what's happening with the. We'll all hear, I'm sure, in the coming hours, what's actually, what's the violation or what the heck. But this is just, that's a big downer to this card, though. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so now I'm wondering. What fight gets bumped up?
God.
Did they bump up Zingano and Pena to the main card or something? This is insane. Yeah. Wow, I can't believe this happened during the show. It's actually, wow, holy shit. All right, so John Jones flagged for a possible violation. Who knows what the fuck he did? So that fight's canceled. It's off. Okay, and now we got Brock Lesnar against Mark Hunt for the main event. This is insane. John Jones failed a test taken on June 16th. So that shit has been known for a minute. So I think you're right, Dave. They fucking knew already.
Yeah, I thought it was super weird that they still had, John filming the embeddeds here in Albuquerque. I just thought he'd already be in Vegas. They'd already be there doing their thing. And then everybody was showing their fight kits, checking in. Everybody was checking in except for John Jones. So I thought that was weird, too, as well.
So they fucking might have already known and just fucking held off to try and get, pay-per-view. What the fuck?
Because Daniel Cormier said he was 12 pounds over and that the weight cut was going well, so that's why I highly doubted that it was with Cormier, because Cormier wants this fight so bad, but apparently John didn't want it as bad. So this is just unfortunate news, guys.
Yeah, dude, this is insane. Okay. Holy shit. All right.
Uh,
While we wait for more information, I think Nick, we were on you right now. Were you picking, or did you pick already?
what were we on? We were on Hoffa. Yeah, I picked
You picked?
Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was on there. So I think Kane gets in there, finds a way to win. My mind's fucked. All right, let's move on to the next fight. That means now your co-main event's gonna be
Misha Tate.
no, it's gonna be Frankie and Edgar. I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
Frankie and Aldo,
Co-main?
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Are they the third fight?
It's Misha.
No, the Misha Tate Nunez fight was co-main.
No, it was John Jones DC. Then it was Brock and Hunt.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
It was and then it was Frankie and Aldo. So I mean, look personally, I bumped Nunez and Tate to co-main, but they probably won't do that. Anyway, wow, this is insane. All right.
Yeah, I'm getting ticks stuff now too. My phone's blowing up too.
Yeah, same.
People are hitting me
Misha
up asking me if
Tate,
I know some shit. This is crazy. I just found out right in front of everybody, so holy shit. All right. Let's move on.
I thought you were going to say Kane pulled out because of injury, but this is better.
This is better. This is better. John Jones was out because he injected some shit in his dick. That's what happened. All right. Anyway, Misha Tate against Amanda Nunez for the title, obviously. Tate's 18-5-0, 29 years old, out of Vegas, Nevada, Extreme Couture. The 5-2 in the UFC. Last one was an insane submission of Holly Holm for the title at 196. And, who else is at the longest road to a title besides Michael Bisping, of course, then Misha Tate, right? After starting her UFC career, with consecutive losses, she lost to Zingano. She lost to Ronda Rousey right after. She put together a 5-fight win streak that led her to the title win. Win over Liz Carmouche, Sarah McMahon, Jessica Ai, that little midget chick from Japan, Rinda Kai, I think. And then obviously the home win. So now she gets to defend her belt. Nunez is 12-4-0, 28 years old, out of Salvador Bahia, Brazil, training out of American Top Team in Florida. 5-1 in the UFC. Last fight was a decision win over Valentina Shevchenko that earned her this title shot. So if you look at her record, one set that pops out on Nunez is from all her wins, 9 of her wins are knockout wins, right? Wins by knockout. She got wins over Raquel Paolini, who trains at or fights in Invicta, Jermaine Durandamy, Shayna Baszler, Sarah McMahon. So the one thing she shared with Tate is a loss to Kat Zingano, who's fighting in the prelims or possibly now in the main card, depending on what they do with that empty spot. So Nunez has legit knockout power, a solid ground game, but the questions come when people talk about her cardio. Is can she last 5 rounds? This is the first time fighting 5 rounds. First time ever fighting 5 rounds. So, against a durable fighter like Misha Tate, who you can hurt, but she pops like a zombie and continues to fight, it's going to be a rough go for Amanda Nunez, in my opinion. And I'll go first. I'm picking Misha Tate to keep her belt. Harder knock out Misha Tate, and she pops up like a freaking zombie. It's going to be crazy. So I'm picking Nunez. Dave, who you got?
Yeah, great points, Eddie. I have to agree with you. Misha's had a long road. She definitely wants to hang on to this belt. She has unfinished business, I guess you could say, with Ronda Rousey say she does come back. But then again, Misha's a gamer. She wants to compete against the top women in the division and prove that she's a worthy champion. So Amanda Nunez, ranked number 4, is a step in the right direction. Misha's coming off the fantastic finish of, unfortunately, our girl, our hometown hero, Holly Holm, in that great bout that they have, one of the best fights in, women's bantamweight history, UFC history. It's up there on the list. But Amanda Nunez has claimed she's got the tools to compete with Misha, but Misha's not an easy out. I don't think she has enough. I think Misha's got the cardio, she's got the wrestling, she's super patient. She's going to pick her spots, and I think she picks Nunez apart. I think either if it's on the ground or standing, Misha, she's a great scrambler. She's good at everything in between, getting to the ground, standing, all these scrambling tech or anything that's going to be involved with getting back to your feet. Misha is gonna put a hurting on you any chance you get. So she hurts you, she jumps on you, she finishes. I just think that she'll look to test her on the ground for sure, much like the Holly Holm fight. So I see that happening quite quick. First and foremost in the bout and early in the first round, she's going to attempt the takedowns. But big fight favoring Misha, 87%, 13% of the people are going with Nunez. So heavy favorite. I'm going with Misha to retain the belt, and look forward to seeing what happens with Holly in a couple weeks and possibly a rematch in that.
Yeah, definitely. And while we're still looking, while everyone's making their picks, I'm still looking for possible information. All we know so far, again, John Jones flagged. We started violation. Fight with DC is off. new main event is Brock Lesnar versus Mark Hunt, which to me takes a little sting off of 200, honestly, but
Yeah, it
still a
does.
crazy card, but that took a little bit out of it. I really want to see DC and John Jones, but what are you gonna do? All right, Nick, who you got in this one, man?
I'm picking Misha Tate, and one of the reasons why is she finally got it. She finally got the goal that she's been wanting, and she finally has a taste of it. And she's not going to let that go for a while. Amanda Nunes, I think, is going to be a good uh, fight for her, just to retain her belt and work her way up to Ronda or a possible Holly rematch to solidify her championship. But this is what I was going to say about DC, because since this fight is now canceled, I was going to pick DC over John Jones because he tasted the gold. He finally has it, and he's not going to let it go. And that was going to be that's my same opinion with Misha Tate. She's not going to let this thing go. She finally achieved one of her goals, and she's taken her camp smart. She's been seeing a sports psychosis person, something like that. I don't know how to say it, but she's been doing that, and I think that's really smart. It's getting your mind right in a fight, and a lot of fighters don't do that nowadays. They just train, and they don't think about the mind. Like in my opinion, in a fight, it's 90% mental, 10% physical. And she's doing it the right way, so I'm going to go Misha Tate with this. She's going to regain or keep her championship.
Yeah, and it's hard to say that that Tate would lose to a knockout artist because she's hard to knock out. So real quick, another little detail here. Dana White says Joe Silva's in the air right now. When he lands, they will talk about maybe finding DC a replacement opponent. Obviously, a couple of days before, it's going to be incredibly hard to do. Like almost
I just read that too. Yeah, I just read that. Well, I don't know if it's all up to Cormier, though. Cormier might not want to fight, or then again, he probably put so much into this training camp that he's got to fight somebody. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do. Where is Latifi at when you need him, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I didn't let him do it. He'll jump in the first time.
Same with John Anik saying Dana White has not. He has yet to speak to John Jones. He's disgusted with the news that everyone else is.
They knew. Yeah. It just seems like they fucking knew already, so I'm not buying that. I haven't told the John Jones shit.
And apparently, Trevor O'Brien saying that the. Go ahead.
Oh, I said no. I'm at a loss for words, the big guys. I'm a little shocked over here coming from Albuquerque, New Mexico, Jackson Week. I've seen John in his training camps. You know what he's been doing. It's devastating. It really is.
Okay. All right, Nick, what were you saying?
From O'Brien tweeting out, the flag test happened on June 16th. Mm-hmm. That's when is the last time he got tested. So that's what he's saying. I don't know. It's crazy. This is, like you said, it put a little sting on this. For me, it put a big sting on this because this is a great fight. John Jones versus DC2. I was excited for this fight, and it just killed a little bit of the card for me, though.
Yeah, and right here before we get to Jesse's pick on this fight, Dana White says John Jones might get a 2-year suspension from this, so there's no telling what's next for him. That could be it.
Yeah.
I mean, that could possibly be it for John Jones. I mean, yeah, he's only going to be 30 by the time that suspension's over, but 2 years inactive? Like, that's tough. He's in his prime right now. He's in the middle of his prime. You lose 2 years, you're going to come back, you're nowhere near the same, so it's kind of crazy. All right, Jesse, who are you picking in this bantamweight title fight between Nunes and Tate?
Man, I'm still like, I'm shocked, dude. Well, shocked and not shocked. I mean, we expected John Jones to clean up, right? And it's just we're hoping to turn like a fly into a butterfly. It's just not gonna happen, dude. John Jones is gonna be John Jones. It's just sad that he's gonna ruin his own legacy, But in this fight, I think Misha Tate's got this fight in the bag. I think we were talking about this earlier before we started. I think Misha Tate's just got to survive that initial run from Amanda Nunes. I think Nunes is a great fighter. I just think she needs to work on that cardio. She really needs to go into the deeper rounds and really test herself to know that she can get there. And be a little bit more just pick her punches. Instead of just going all out. And I think if she does the all-out blitz, she may have a chance to hurt Misha. But I find that very doubtful. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. I mean, Misha Tate has got one of the most like legendary chins for a chick, And I think it would be the best fight to see her fight against Cyborg, because her chin would hold up pretty good against Cyborg, and we could see some a great fight in that. But I just think Nunes, she has that one knock on her, and I don't think if she becomes tentative and not trying to blow her load in the first round or two, I think that's when Miesha Tate, just picks her apart and takes her down, beats her up, and all that stuff. So either way, both paths to victory are very, very hard for Nunes, and I think Tate wins this fight.
Yeah, and I agree with you as well. I mean, Tate's just overall, she's a better fighter. So, and real quick, a couple more things here. Kevin Ioli from Yahoo Sports, very respected writer, says that Cormier will be out to speak here in a minute or so about his fight being canceled and John's positive test. And then according to Dana White, DC is incredibly devastated in every way possible that this happened, and I completely, I believe him. I mean, DC's been talking the whole time about how I'm willing to die to beat you, and now the guy who he put, his heart and soul and entire camp. First of all, fighters put camps into this. They stop their personal lives for this shit. You know what I mean? And to put a full camp in for a guy, and then that guy can't even make it to the fight because of his own choices, possibly, allegedly. We don't know the details yet on John Jones, but it really sucks. And I feel real bad for DC. And look, we know they're not going to find a replacement. Not on 3 days' notice. It's one thing to find a replacement, huh?
Yeah, not only that, Eddie, this fight's never going to happen ever again.
Never.
It's never happening. Yeah, because I think Chael Sonnen said it the first time when they scheduled it in April. There was a couple people. I was kind of suspect about it too, but a lot of people were saying, I won't believe this rematch happens until I see him walk into the cage. So that is, become truth now, and that fight's never going to happen. I'm curious to see what DC has to say. I'm sure he's going to, not be, talk a bunch of trash, but he has all the reason to, and then whenever the violation does come out, say it's a supplement or if it's something much worse, but it's just not good news. But yeah, it's a sting to everybody in the MMA community right now. So,
yeah, go ahead, Nick.
I have a question for everyone. Do you think this puts a hurting on DC's career, like not being able to beat the pound for pound, quote unquote pound for pound greatest fighter, that his one loss? Do you think this hurts his career, or do you think his career just keeps on ticking on and he could be one of the best eventually?
Well, here's the thing. People are still going to bring that up, even though literally out of his control that this fight's not going down. It's completely out of DC's control, right? That this fight's not going to happen. And so people are still going to come up and be like, oh, you didn't beat the legit champ. Oh, where is he? Oh, yeah, he can't fight for 2 years because he did some shit. You know what I mean? It's not his fault. So this, to me, and I think to most hardcore fans, and even some casuals, it kind of cleans the slate for him. It goes, okay, all right, we get it. You're the champ. Go forth from here on. I think that's what happens. I don't think it hurts him. I think it's going to bother him for sure. It's going to bother him that he never got to fight the guy that beat him. The only loss on his record is John Jones. Okay, that will eat away at a guy, especially a guy as proud as DC is. So it's I don't think it ruins it, and I don't think it hurts it. But I think maybe for the next 2 years or so, next year, should DC still be champion, people are still going to egg him on about it, and it's going to mess with him mentally and in his own heart. But as far as outside looking at DC's career as a whole, I don't think it hurts it. But that's my opinion. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I think it's somewhat negative to his legacy. But then again, he did fight Jones. He wasn't, Jones didn't totally destroy him, although he won on the scorecards across the board, pretty dominant in the decision. But this fight here, just not happening for DC. He put it all on the line for this one. I know everybody's dying to see this bout. Cormier is the one that wanted it the most. Apparently, like we now find out, John didn't want it as badly as Cormier did. So this fight is just, it's something where DC moving forward, he's going to fight the top guys. I think where I was going to base my pick on the actual fight tonight, or fight for 200, was, Cormier did get a second shot against Jones. The guy's name wasn't John Jones, the guy's name was Alexander Gustafsson. He did very well against Gustafsson. So going into this bout, I think, DC, felt what he needed to do to improve on and to earn a win. So it's going to be interesting to see what DC was capable of doing against this type of John, and we all know what kind of performance John's coming off of, really kind of second-guessing himself, saying, he fought down the competition. I really don't agree to that, because he's kind of been, flipping the switch on that, saying that I'm the more dominant guy, I'm going to run through him. And then again, he told DC in a presser that I fought down to the guy. So really strange the way John was talking leading into this bout. I even heard somebody say, and ask him an interesting question at the presser today. and asks him what would be his legacy, or what would be John Jones say he does lose on this card. So not a lot of people ask John Jones about losing. So you guys catch that pressure. I'm not sure who actually asked that question, but fantastic question, though, because John says, losing is not in his psychology. So, but like we all know, John is the only guy to beat himself. So this is another sting to the legacy of John, of course, but not so much to Daniel Cormier, as Daniel's going to continue to be a champion, and there's going to be some contenders arising soon. You got Glover Teixeira, Anthony Johnson next month. Ideally, that's a #1 contender bout, what the circumstances are at this point.
And before Jesse gives his opinion on this one too, a couple more things here. Here's a decent detail here, or a detail I think is important. Out of competition test. So it's at a competition test, June 16th. So we know his history with recreational shit. If this is an USADA, if this is a PED, how long has he been doing this shit? At a competition. This literally brings up every question possible about John Jones' legitimacy, of his wins, of his career. And honestly, like, I'm kind of with Nick on this. I think he might have just flushed his entire career down the toilet right here. If this is malicious, if it's proven that it's not just that wasn't Chad Mendes, it was somebody else. Who was it that took a supplement? It was legit tainted. They didn't know. If it wasn't one, no, it wasn't that. Taking big pills. Anyway, I think it might have been Yoel Romero. I forgot who it was, but
Mir, right?
Huh?
Mir popped for something that
he just got popped too. He's out for 2 years.
Yeah, he's out for 2 years, which blew my mind too.
John Jones might be out for 2 years too. This is insanity. It's unprecedented. It's honestly, everybody's shocked. Talking to people on Twitter right now and everywhere, it's a huge shock in the MMA world. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, this out of competition thing is interesting. A couple quotes here from Daniel Cormier. He says, "I'm very disappointed. I worked really hard for this. In the Olympics," he's basically saying he's as disappointed as he was when the Olympics thing went down, when he wasn't able to compete. But he says it was his fault. I'm the one who didn't manage my weight in the right way. This time I did everything right. Basically, John Jones' fault, right? If John was back and the fight was asked, of course I would take it. I'm here to fight and be an example for kids to look up to. I've trained hard and long. If anyone would fight, I would fight. Why not? Basically saying he'll take almost anybody to fight this Saturday. He says, I'll even move up to 225, 275 to heavyweight to fight. He wants to fight. Again, these guys, they pause their lives to fucking, to a training camp and everything. And real quick, Thug Life MMA with the quote of the night on YouTube saying, all you motherfuckers are on steroids. Nick Diaz. Diaz said that shit when he got out of his fucking the weed thing. He was like, all you motherfuckers are on steroids, all of you. How true might that motherfucking shit be? Nah? Who knows? So anyway, Jesse, what do you think about that? Huh? What's that?
Nick and George, they know a little something, I guess.
Oh, Nick knows his shit, man. Someone go to GSP's old shit. We never know. Anyway, Jesse, what do you think about this? This is hurt or ruin DC's legacy career in any way?
No, not DC. It just sucks because I think DC was starting to get a little bit of steam behind him of becoming a heel almost, without him really being a heel,
True.
And had he won on Saturday, I mean, that would have been the best thing for him. That would have propelled him into this almost Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey stratosphere of fame. The guy that everybody hates, and he beat the guy that beat him before, took his title, blah 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 blah. The best pound for pound guy. Honestly, man, I'm looking over the rankings here, guys. What is it? The 205 pound rankings. And honestly, I mean, call me crazy, okay? Call me crazy.
You're crazy.
Fine. But I think there's two options you can do, because they're fighting soon enough where they probably already started their training camp, or at least they're like getting physical. And that's, to me, it's either might as well give a shot to Ryan Bader, who was on a pretty good run before he ran into, who was it he last ran into? Was it Anthony Johnson or somebody like that?
Yeah, Rumble knocked him the fuck out.
Or you give a shot to Glover, who's also on a little bit of a run. Both of those guys, pretty respectable guys. Both of them within the top 5. And I think you leave Gustafsson and Johnson as a fight as a future contender. You put one of these two guys in that fight. and you just roll with it. I mean, you put it maybe like a co-main event or something. Sucks, but I mean, I think we give something to DC at this point for everything that he put into this camp. You know, he did everything right, and I think him going home without getting paid, being on the biggest card of all time, I think that's just a robbery to DC. And I think the fairest thing to do is at least give him somebody that's willing to take that fight. And I hope any of these guys, I mean any of these guys, that they just give them a call and go, hey, jump on a plane and come and fight at UFC 200. I would hope all of these guys are just willing to take that phone call, be a chill Sonnen, and say, man, I'll fight him on the lawn in front of the UFC offices. It doesn't matter, you know, I'll make way to do what it has to be done. So, yeah, man, it sucks, and you know, honestly, it pisses me off so much to the point that I just don't want to mention, you know, John Jones anymore, you know, in this conversation, because it's like it's such a you almost, like, to me, I almost just want to spit in his face, you know, and in disgust of like him ruining his own career at this point. I mean, come on, man. Like,
killed the card.
Yeah, exactly.
The card's gonna be fine. The card's gonna be fine, guys. I mean, think about it. We weren't just tuning in for DC and Jones. I mean, every fight we talked about, you know, saying that the card is hurt, you know, in a devastating way is insult to everybody that's on that card, you know. But to me, it's a guy that's taking his own career out of his reach, you know, out of being the best ever, you know. And to me, that's, if you're stupid enough to do that, then you don't deserve to be talked about in the best pound for pound or in any kind of you know, mention in MMA media. You know, just go away then. You don't want this life. You don't want to be the best. Then go away. You know, just bye. We don't need you. You know, we have enough, you know, top level contenders that do the right thing and are, you know, very, very good at what they do, and not have to worry about some guy that, you know, it has you know, gifts that we could only hope and dream of having, and still just ruins it because he just wants to party and do his own thing. So
a bold statement by the UFC. You probably are gonna shit on this, but let DC, even if you don't find him a fight, let his ass walk to that cage. It's UFC 200. It's possibly one of the biggest cards of them all, and he's not going to be on it. It fucks it up for him, and putting his money in his fight camp for this, losing time out with his family. Let him at least walk to the cage, and let Bruce Buffer at least announce and still UFC light heavyweight champion DC. Let him have that moment. Let him be in that arena and be in that cage at least something, because it's ridiculous that one person can fuck up not just his career, but an opportunity for DC.
Yeah, this is insane. It's just, I'm still trying to figure. I'm looking at this information everywhere, but here's an interesting tweet. John Anik, of course, we know works for the UFC, works for Fox. Yeah, for Fox as well. Has his own podcast with Brian Stan. His tweet says this 4 minutes ago. Tweeted out, timing of this has really got to piss a lot of people off. Supposedly Jones was tested in June. Process is thorough, sure, but 72 hours out. Again, they knew. There's no way someone didn't know, and they held this information for too long. You know what I mean?
Hey, I'll tell you what, Eddie. I'll tell you what. Remember I tweeted something out earlier in the day about Dana's beard, how we were kind of joking about Dana's facial hair?
Yeah.
And I tweeted something out, and I said, something is up. Well, now we know what's up.
Yeah. Dude, fucking, yeah, it's exactly what it was. Like, have people talk about something else quick. Have a beard. No, but fucking, that was weird too that you even said that something was up. Fucking look at that shit.
Yeah, I tweeted that at noon today, and that's just based on me looking at Dana White's facial hair. So.
This is so crazy. Dana White. They were saying Dana White was having dinner at the Mandalay Bay when he heard, and then he texted DC, and DC thought it was like about his wardrobe or something, maybe like a fine. And they said he had he had a bad feeling in the pit of his stomach. So it's I mean.
Can you imagine? The poor server, he probably didn't get that like $1,000 tip he usually gets from Dana White, man.
Yeah. No, dude, this is fucking so crazy. White said Cormier was a mess and he wasn't sure he could even talk. So Cormier is legitimately, you know, right now about this and everything. And you hope someone steps up, but
yeah, I want to hear about Ilir Latifi getting on a plane and making his way to Las Vegas.
What?
Cowboy Cerrone, man. Cowboy Cerrone's always up for a fight. Make a catchweight fight.
No. Here's the card saver, guys. Chael Sonnen.
Oh yeah.
Fuck it. Fuck
it.
yeah.
Make it happen. That'd be legit. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, let's break down the now main event while we wait for more information, which we probably won't get into tomorrow. But
Well, we're forgetting one.
that's what I'm saying. The main event. Oh wait, what are
No.
we forgetting?
You skip.
Edgar
you
Aldo.
skip-
The
Yeah.
new co-main
shit.
event.
I fucking forgot. Okay, yeah, my bad. Forgot about that one. I was so excited for the main event that I forgot about that one. All right, and I apologize. I forgot to write it in my notes too, so I fucked that one up. Anyway, we got Frankie Edgar, Jose Aldo. They fought before, went to decision. Is this the second or third time they fight?
Second.
Second time they
Second.
fight.
Rematch.
Yeah, first time was a pretty damn close fight. A lot of people thought Frankie won that by decision. Obviously, Jose Aldo took that one. Now they're fighting for an interim title. Frankie Edgar, 155 champion, former 155 champion. Jose Aldo, until recently, the only featherweight champ the UFC has ever had. It's a fight. Look, I'll go first. Frankie Edgar just came off knocking out Chad Mendes with a one-hitter quitter, right? Jose Aldo's coming off getting one-hitter quitted himself. So it's a weird fight. To me, the biggest look, I know Frankie Edgar's going to show up, right? Frankie Edgar always shows up to his fights, no matter what. It's always the Frankie Edgar, the one we know and love. Jose Aldo, meanwhile, is coming off a devastating knockout from by Conor McGregor, and you wonder what he lost in that knockout, if anything. His whole demeanor walking to the cage against Conor, it was weird. He looked down, he wouldn't look up. He looked like he was caught up in the moment. He was feeling the pressure, like Joe Rogan said in the broadcast. He looked like he was feeling the pressure of the moment, and you wonder if that's affected him now in his training or even in his fight with Frankie Edgar. But I think I personally think it's Frankie Edgar's time. I think he's gonna it's time for him to make a run at the legit 145 belt, whether or not Conor McGregor wants to defend it or he vacates it or gets it stripped. I think it's time for Frankie Edgar to fight for the title 145. I think he takes it in a really nasty ground out decision, maybe a split, but I think it's Frankie's time. So let's go with Dave here. Who you got?
Yeah, it's a great fight. They have to move it to the co-main. It's a necessary matchup. It's somewhat of a forced matchup, being that Conor McGregor and Diaz are doing their thing again. I think Conor should have been wanting to try to fight Frankie Edgar. Frankie's a legend, so Conor could take Frankie out. That's a super fight right there. But in this bout here, I think just Frankie's doing big things. He's on the route, to becoming a two-division champion. That's what means a lot to him. He's trying to accomplish that here against Jose Aldo. I've seen the stare down. Aldo looks the way he should have looked against McGregor now against Frankie. So Aldo looks pretty fierce. He looks like he's ready to go. Frankie, 34-year-old veteran. It'll be his 20th UFC fight, I believe, in this bout. So it'll be his 8th world title fight. But Frankie Edgar is fights in title fights all the time. That's just what he does. He made a nice run back to getting to this fight against Jose, but he laid waste to Chad Mendes. That was impressive. Now going forward with Jose, I know both these guys were dying to fight Conor McGregor, but this is a fight that gets him possibly to the McGregor fight. 29 years young, Jose Aldo. Like I mentioned, he's one of the oldest 29-year-olds in the UFC, along with Gegard Mousasi. So Aldo, Edgar, very close fight, in my opinion. But I think, like you said, Eddie, it could be just a split decision for Edgar. But I think both these guys are game. They're going to showcase what they got. It's a very, very high-stakes bout. You'll see that as soon as the bell rings. And I think Frankie gets the job done.
Hey, real quick, a couple more details here. Dana White saying that he was getting texts from the matchmaker about fighters wanting DC. So there's guys calling right now asking for this fight. One being, he just tweeted this out 2 minutes ago, Gegard Mousasi out. Dana White last at UFC. Huh?
That's what I was laughing at,
yeah.
Gegard Mousasi.
Yeah. He says, I'm ready to replace John Jones against DC for the light heavyweight belt or main event. Call me.
Roy Nelson said that too, and when they interviewed him, he said, I'll be ready to fight John Jones if they want me to as well, in a little scrum. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So here we are now.
So, by the way, nobody wins out more than the WWE. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The main event of a UFC star while still being a WWE wrestler. You can't write this shit. This is how it works. This is our world. This is our reality. Cannot write this shit. All right, yeah, Jesse, who you got in this Frankie and Aldo fight?
Just real quickly, Frankie Edgar, man. I think Jose Aldo, like you guys said, after that knockout, I mean, he's not going to be the same guy. That was a devastating knockout. I don't know his confidence. And then Frankie Edgar, their first fight, it was at his first time cutting down. Now he's grown into his new weight division, and I think he's gonna do what he's been doing. I mean, he's just gonna run through him. I think Jose Aldo is a broken guy, and I don't think we see anything close to what we saw before out of Aldo. I think Frankie Edgar teases him up, and then takes that interim, and then turns it into the real title later on.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Nick, what you got?
Frankie Edgar, man, it's going to be a crazy fight. The first one was, I know Aldo got finished in whatever goddamn seconds it was, because I'm still shocked from the breaking news. But Edgar, it's his time. He's been hunting for it, and I'd rather see Edgar versus McGregor than Aldo versus McGregor too. I think Edgar's going to be a lot smarter in this fight. He's going to be a lot more. He's going to be using his range a little bit more. He's going to be staying back a little bit more and counter punching just that little bit. But I'm going with Edgar all the way.
All right. Looking for more things here. I mean, this is kind of crazy. Other MMA fighters that are reacting to the news of John Jones. Dan Henderson saying, tweeting to DC MMA, I feel for you. I know what it feels like to have your opponent get pulled 3 days before the fight due to being dishonorable. I mean, that's one of the best. That's one of the legends of the sport. One of the most respected fighters saying that's some dishonorable shit. You know, and again, we don't know details yet. John Jones hasn't said anything. I'm actually have his Twitter up, see if he says anything. No, official statements from the Jones camp, nothing from Jackson, nothing like that. So this is such a crazy thing that happened tonight. So now let's talk about the main event now. The new main event, Brock Lesnar against Mark Hunt. I mean, of course, we know the story of Brock Lesnar. 5-3-0. He's 38 years old. Out of Canada now. Used to be Minnesota. Now it's Canada. At a team death clutch. 4-3 in the UFC. Last fight was a TKO loss to Alistair Overeem at UFC 141 in 2011. This is the return of the beast. I mean, who else has made as big of an impact in as little time in the UFC as Brock Lesnar did? And now he returns to main event UFC 200. No longer co-main, main event against Mark Hunt. Plenty of questions remain for that guy, though. I mean, has the layoff hurt him? Did he continue, training while he was off? Did his pro wrestling training hurt anything that's MMA related? Did he continue, staying clean or not? Because we know pro wrestlers like to get some of those Mexican supplements. You know what I'm saying? So now, he returns to take on an elite striker like Mark Hunt. Can his wrestling outdo the striking of Mark Hunt? Can he take Mark Hunt down? Or the other way around? Can Hunt stop a takedown? Hunt's 12-10-1. 42 years old out of New Zealand, trains at ATT. He's trained at Jackson's apparently. I didn't know that. According to Sherdog. I'm not sure where he trains full time, but whatever. 7-4-1 in the UFC. His last fight was a knockout win over Frank Mir at Fight Night 85. Mark Hunt is like the walk-off knockout king, right? He's KO'd guys like Mir, Bigfoot Silva, Roy Nelson. Shit. In fact, they thought nobody could knock out Roy Nelson, and Hunt did it with one and walked off. If it wasn't for the ref, it would have been a smooth-ass walk-off, but he tripped a little bit. It's all good. But he comes into this fight against a powerful wrestler who's coming to, looking to take him down, ground and pound him to the canvas as hard as possible, as fast as possible. So it's again, two different styles. We get a grappler, mostly grappler. We don't know if Brock Lesnar has improved whatsoever on the feet, and a striker in Mark Hunt. It's almost like whoever strikes first wins, right? So I started here with Jesse, man. Who are you picking?
I think if I were to pick Brock Lesnar, I would probably be kicking myself on Monday, just being like, wow, why did I pick Brock? I think Mark Hunt comes in here and uppercuts him and puts him to sleep. I just think I don't believe what people say that he doesn't like to get hit, because nobody likes to get hit. I think his reactions to it sucks. But he's got a decent enough chin. I mean, he took some heavy punches from Shane Carwin, and he didn't get slept. I don't know if Mark Hunt hits as hard as Shane Carwin. The only guy that can really attest to that is Frank Mir, and I think Frank Mir still said that Mark Hunt hit him the hardest. So I don't know, man. I think Mark Hunt is gonna really put a hurting on Brock Lesnar. I don't think Brock Lesnar is gonna be able to do anything, impressive in this fight. I think he's just going to get in there, try to use his athleticism, and he's going to get clipped and he's going to go down. Other than that, I mean, it's just going to be one of those things where I think the return of the beast is going to be very short-lived, and it's just going to be another blip on his record, And I think I guess it's good that we actually have this main event, better than anything. But I think they should promote either Misha Tate to the main event, or I don't know, Frankie Edgar or something, and give him the real title. But other than that, man, I think this is going to be a wash of a fight. I don't think Brock Lesnar is going to be in there doing anything pretty impressive.
Yeah. Mike Jarvis on YouTube just said Tom Lawler is asking for the fight. Tom Lawler against DC. Hey, if he gets paid. Look, I just hope DC gets paid out of this, okay? Give him his show money at least. All right, Nick, who you taking? The Beast or DC?
Man,
The Beast or Mark Hunt? Now I'm thinking Mark Lesnar.
it's crazy, right? Now we have UFC 100 was headlined by Brock Lesnar. Now UFC 200 is headlined by Brock Lesnar. It's crazy, and he hasn't been in the fight game in 5 years. He's been doing fake ass wrestling, so it's insane. I'm just, if Mark Hunt walk-off KOs Brock Lesnar, that's the greatest thing I'll ever watch in sports in a long time. So I'm going Mark Hunt. I really do hope he walk-off KOs him, just because I honestly want to see that happen. If Brock Lesnar wins, hey, he wins. What's next for him? Probably nothing, because he has to do SummerSlam or something in August. So you know what? I'm going Mark Hunt. It's the smart choice to pick. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. A lot of people on Twitter going, how do I get my money back? And all that stuff. So, real quick, Jesse, you want to finish up real quick before so you got to get back to work?
Yeah. I mean, I've been on a 2-hour lunch. I don't know if.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
Breaking news, man. Breaking news.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, to everybody out there that's complaining about, get my money back, whatever, don't. This card is still a banger of a card. It's still going to be a good card. It's going to be an amazing card. Don't insult these fighters for a mistake of some guy that, just thought that he was better than, USADA or whatever. And plus, we still know what he popped for. I mean, the only thing that he could pop for is a PED out of competition. So that, I mean, it throws everything out the window. It's got to be a PED of some sort. It could be a diuretic. It could be something like that. It could be something stupid like what BJ Penn was going through, where it's some stupid IV. So who knows what actually is the case. But all in all, just enjoy this card. Everybody just, enjoy this weekend of fights. It's going to be an amazing weekend of fights. We're all going to be able to look back and say, man, that was a good event. And, just don't let one person ruin that event for everybody. So, peace out, guys. I'll catch you guys later.
Have a good one. You can follow Jesse at SPWAT1983 on Twitter. Have a good one, man.
All right, later, guys.
Yeah, so check this out. According to Dana White, they haven't even told Mark Hunt or Brock Lesnar that they're in the main event yet. They don't know. They probably find out through Twitter or like
Brock is getting hammered right now.
Yeah, right.
He's ready for this. I'm getting fucking paid. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the thing. I hope DC's getting paid out of this, man.
I really do. I really do hope so, because it's ridiculous. It really is. It sucks to be DC right now. Honestly, he's older than me, but for a fucking child's mistake.
Yeah, it's so weird. All right, let's finish up with Brock and Mark Hunt, so we can get back to DC and Jones, I guess. So, Dave, who you picking, man?
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. It's a big showcase fight now. As we know, it's the main event, so it's even bigger stakes on the line for a few different reasons. I would say on the side of Brock Lesnar, with the win, like you guys said, you referred to, going back to WWE, doing his thing there. But I know there's been talks of, Brock, maybe contesting for the title, possibly with a big, showcase win, especially now it's the main event. I don't see it going that way. I mean, Brock's just been away for a while. I really question, and the question that I want to know answered is, how long did Brock know that this fight was happening? Like, did he know he was fighting? Did he not know it was Mark Hunt? Or did he know he was actually just fighting somebody? So that's an interesting question. We'll find out the answer to that. I just think that I've heard some other things about Mark Hunt, just like personal stuff. I guess he's coming off a divorce or something like that. So there's something like that kind of maybe going into this fight that may possibly help him, I guess, in some way. But then again, Hunt is just known for being the David Ortiz of the UFC in the heavyweight division. So I think Brock's going to be really aggressive. He's going to try to, put Mark Hunt out, which is no easy task. Mark Hunt's got one of the most how do you properly describe his record? Like just a deceiving record. I mean, it's just not not accurate. The guy has fought the toughest guys, KO'd Roy Nelson, who's unKOable, and he's still got the job done. But Mark Hunt just has freakish power. I think Brock has never been hit by somebody like Mark Hunt. So once Mark lands, he's going to land. He's going to pick his spots. Mark Hunt has kind of a sleeper style where you don't really know, and then he just cracks you with one and he puts you down. So I think Lesnar's just not ready for that. Hunt is ready for this fight. There's a lot on the line for him. Even with that record, I mean, you line up a couple wins for Mark Hunt, and he's right there competing for the title. So he's fought all the top guys. So favoring Mark Hunt in this bout, but I wouldn't be shocked if Brock just came out there and did some crazy shit and ended up with a crazy win as a main event. Now that's ridiculous that it's now the main event. So even bigger stakes, and then like you said, he doesn't even know he's the main event as we speak right now. Even more interesting. So it's a crazy turn of events this evening, guys. So we do have 3 days of great fights. Unfortunately, we got 4 titles instead of 5 now. But like Jesse said, we don't need to let one guy ruin it for us because we broke all these cards down. Fantastic fights, fantastic up and coming prospects. So we're on the verge of that. When we wake up tomorrow, it's definitely fight day. So looking forward to it. Just really bummed out about John, and just it hits close because I'm right here in Albuquerque, and it's really just something where it could be career ending for John. So that's something where I hope it's not, but it's very serious stuff at this point.
Yeah, and I'm picking Mark Hunt. I like Mark Hunt dropping just an uppercut and dropping Brock Lesnar like a bad habit. I really do. Look, and I don't hate Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar could definitely take Mark Hunt down and ground and pound him and finish the fight, right? We've seen that happen. But he has to get close to do that, and Mark Hunt has timing like nobody else in the heavyweight division. So taking out Mark Hunt to win that one for sure. All right. Looking for a couple more things here. Any other new bits of information? There was a very short press conference. I don't see a video of it anywhere. I'm assuming another media, maybe an MMA fighting or MMA junkie, whoever, will have video up at some point. So keep an eye on YouTube for that because that's usually where they post it, or their own websites, whatever. If I find it, I'll definitely tweet it out to everybody. There was a short press conference with Dana White, and I think DC came out and asked him some questions, and it's the same thing. He's super, disappointed and all that. And they're looking for a replacement. There's a lot of guys that want to replace John Jones, so that's one thing there. The other thing too, and I want to ask, start here with Dave. They when Conor McGregor didn't want to do press conferences, and they pulled him off the card because he didn't want to do a press conference, right, in New York.
Yeah.
How does that look now? That you could have had Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz as a main event, and now your main event's gone, and you took Conor off because of a press conference. What do you think of that?
Yeah, sort of the way they scheduled the Brock Lesnar fight was sort of like a backup, in my opinion, just how it came about. But exactly like what you said, Eddie, if they're kicking themselves with not having Conor on the card for just some petty stuff. I mean, they immediately scheduled him back with Nate and got that squared away. Also got his training partner, Chris Avila, a fight in the process. So I think, man, it's just, the UFC is really – Dana White's not a happy man right now. Lorenzo and those guys are probably, going to be up all night tonight trying to, figure out if they're going to get a rematch or get a rematch, just a matchup for DC. As we found out that DC is just devastated. He put a lot into this camp, and it seems like you would think DC would be more, he's probably going to talk trash, going forward in the coming weeks, but I'm sure he's going to just be, super disappointed. But he just wants to be a part of the card. I mean, you can't knock the guy, and he's a true champion. He's defended the belt twice. This would have been his crowning achievement, defeating Jones at UFC 200. So they're taking that up. Jones took that opportunity from him. Like I mentioned earlier, Jones didn't want it, apparently as bad as DC did. We'll find out what it is, whether it's a supplement violation or something to that nature. But it's just not good news. I mean, I hope they find somebody for DC. I hope he gets paid, like you said, Eddie. I definitely agree with you on that 100%.
Hopefully. And real quick, Dom Manos, and I know Nick and Jessica see this, Jessica's gone, but apparently Jonathan Snowden, who everyone knows, and I call him one of the best trolls on the internet, but Jonathan Snowden tweeted out saying there were whispers around Albuquerque that Jones was self-destructing. I should have listened harder. It's little hints like that everyone looks out for and they kind of overlook, right? And then shit just goes down like this, so it's kind of crazy. All right, so Nick, what do you think of that now? You took off Conor McGregor, and now you got, fucking nobody. You just got Brock Lesnar and Mark Hunt. Mind you, still a banging card, but you lost your main event. It's karma-ish, maybe a little bit, right?
Yeah, no, you can say it's karma-ish, but it is what it is. Like shit happens every day to everybody, and it really does suck for DC. It sucks for John Jones too. It sucks he couldn't get his shit together because DC was waiting for him. But hey, the card's still getting my pay-per-view money. I'm going to be sitting on my couch watching this with a couple of friends, even though the main event's gone, because it's still, like everyone's been saying, it's still a stacked card. I'm ready for this card. It's UFC 200. We still have Brock Lesnar on the card. We have Misha Tate. We have Frank Edgar Aldo, which is going to be one of the craziest fights on the card, along with Joe Lozon versus Diego Sanchez. It's a crazy stacked card. I'm still ready for it. It just sucks that this main event's gone, but UFC 200 is still here, and I think it will still be one of the best cards that ever was for the UFC.
Yeah. No, this whole thing's crazy. Mike Drop says I sent the video to you guys, so I'm going to have to find the video of I'm going to have to find it up on YouTube because, Mike, I didn't see anything on Twitter. I'm going to have to look a little harder than I don't know where it went.
And adding to this, what do you guys think?
Here, I found it. We got it. What'd you say?
Adding to this, what do you guys think? Pay-per-view numbers, draw. Do you think 202 does better than 200 now? What it is?
It depends. I mean, look, people are talking about returning their tickets, and some people are going to avoid the pay-per-view altogether. It's still $60, and if you were dead set on watching Jones Cormier, it's kind of a kick in the balls, right? So, 202 better than 202 is certainly going to be better than 201.
Are 202 doing better numbers than 200 will on a Saturday?
I'm thinking the same. I think it'll do better. I really do.
It will. And honestly, I don't think it will break 100 records. Do you guys think it will break 100 records with this loss of the main event?
No, I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a trip. Fuck. All right. I know it's getting late for everybody, so I'm gonna end this now. Maybe we'll get together tomorrow sometime once we get more information. The video that Mike Jorp sent to me, appreciate that, man. I'm going to retweet it right now. It is video, the press conference that just went down minutes ago with Dana White, and where they announced this whole fucking psycho shit that just went down. Apparently he announced it on ESPN first, but they also had a press conference. So craziness. Is that World MMA? What can you do? All right. So you can follow my boy Nick Pilecki at NickXMicro, still the same, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, NickXMicro. Dave is at Dave's MMA Brief, and I'm at Elaw31. A shout out to Brandon. I know you didn't come back on, man, but this is insane. So I think you might have lost your shit too. So this would have been just a mess of a freaking broadcast. So thanks you guys for coming on with us. And just we'll keep shooting the shit, see what happens with this whole main event, see if DC gets a replacement, or if they just go ahead with just canceling the fight. So everyone have a good night. Appreciate you guys watching, tuning in. Shout out to Mike Jarbs, Andrew Reed, Max Reed. I know I saw Fang on there. Thug Life MMA is a hilarious motherfucker. Definitely was on there as well. And if I forget your name, sorry. I appreciate apologize, but I appreciate you watching. Anyone tuning in, appreciate it. Subscribe, share, follow these guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.